Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We got a big weekend update here. Put out on Twitter, we had some issues getting the Raw and Dynamite, and we were going to go over SmackDown. Had some issues getting all that up, but we are back with the weekend update, going over WWE's Clash at the Castle and AEW's All Out from 2022. We got one show that was good with a rotten ending and one show that was rotten with a great ending, and we're here to talk about it. As always, I'm joined by my co-host. He hopefully is not going to fight me backstage and then call me out at the presser. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, did you survive this weekend?
It was a long one. It kind of felt like it was never going to end.
Yeah, it was especially around that hour 3 of that AEW pay-per-view. I was just contemplating my life decisions at that point.
Well, I know you've never watched Naruto, but it kind of felt like it kind of just felt like there were some filler episodes in the middle, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah, we definitely will.
Overall, a fun weekend of wrestling. I think the ensuing events leading out of this are more interesting than what happened on both shows, to be honest with you. But we'll go ahead and get right into it. So we were in the Principality Stadium, Cardiff, Wales, for Clash at the Castle. I believe 62,000 people in attendance for this. And we opened up with Control, Bailey and Kai and Kai and Sky versus Bianca, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss. Crowd was super hot here, and I was kind of shocked. They have a trend of going first with women's matches, at least that I've noticed.
Well, Bailey is over in the UK, so why not start out hot with Bailey?
Shoot, I think everybody was over on this show.
Bianca was way over, and what did she come out first?
I honestly don't remember. I believe so.
And
yeah,
they got a name. Did you say their name?
I wrote Control. Isn't it Damage Control?
Yeah, they're Damage Control. They had a new theme. I was digging it.
Theme was buns.
Yeah, the theme wasn't the best, but at least they got something as a team. They're not coming out separate.
Yeah, I'm all right with it. The name's okay, but I think I don't know. I don't know if I like Control or Damage Control better, but yeah.
It reminds me of
apples and oranges.
It reminds me of Control Your Narrative, so I'm just glad they put something at the beginning of that. Damage Control.
No, hey, they're bringing Braun back, apparently.
Hey, man.
He might be the leader.
They brought Cross back already. They brought the
man. A CYN invasion.
All we need is EC3.
Anyways, the crowd was super hot to start this one out. Early on, Bianca took control on Bailey. I was kind of shocked to see those two get in so early, especially Bailey, since she's only had like one match since she's been back. But the other 4 women fought on the outside. Bianca went for a handspring, to which Kai and Tai grabbed her hands out from under her, which I thought was a really cool spot because they grabbed her arms and pulled her to the outside of the ring.
Did you notice that Michael Cole brought up Io Sky's like outside stuff?
Yeah, I don't remember. It was some group they had. It was Asuka, Io, and some other.
It was Io's sister that was in the group too.
Okay, and what was that from Stardom?
Yeah, it was Stardom.
Okay, well, yeah, it kind of brought that up. It was shocking because they never mention anybody's past.
Ever.
Nobody exists outside the WWE realm.
Especially Michael Cole bringing it up. Like Michael Cole was watching Stardom in 2011.
Hey man, might be a big Bucks fan.
Oh no,
nah, I don't know.
Nobody.
There's more on that. Well, he did mention El Generico a few weeks ago, so
yeah, maybe he was a mark for 2011 indie wrestling.
That's a big indie guy, Michael Cole is, I guess.
And the fans were just serenading Bailey in that chant. And
Oh yeah,
she
they
tried to
were.
she tried to heal it up, but man, she couldn't. I mean, they would not let it go. They just kept on chanting.
Well, it's one of those things me and you talked about. They always, anytime they go to the UK or anytime they go to Canada, the crowds are always super hot because they never get shows there. So, I mean, this crowd was on their feet pretty much the entire 4 hours that the
Oh,
show went. I don't know
three
why I said
hours.
2,
3 hours.
3.5.
Okay, you just gonna round that up?
Yeah.
Okay, all right then.
Well, we had a Tyson Fury singing encore at the end.
Well, it's better than your 12-hour marathon of a pay-per-view you had on Sunday night, but whatever.
It was
Digress.
4 hours.
Oh, felt
It's
like
4 hours.
felt like 12, but okay. Is the show
Oh,
still
God.
going on?
Hey, the media scrum might be.
Hey, is Punk still ranting
Anyways,
somewhere?
no, you.
We'll get there.
We'll save that. We'll save
Okay.
that. Io and Alexa were in the ring. Io rolled out of her offense and threw her towards her own corner, and she didn't even tag out. Like,
No.
she was in her corner and just kind of stood there and like she didn't know what to do with her hands. So, it was kind of weird. But they messed up on Bianca's hot tag a little later. Asuka like went in when you thought it was going to be Bianca, and then the crowd popped for Asuka. So then when she ended up tagging Bianca in a little bit later, it was like I don't know, weirdly paced at times
It's a girls'
to
match.
me.
It's a girls' match. You should expect this. Sometimes they like overthink their spots, and you can like see them like the wheels turning in their head. They're trying to remember where they're supposed to be. Like it happens, man. Even on the other shows,
Yeah.
especially when you
I
got
mean, I
so
wouldn't know.
many.
I didn't watch.
Oh man, especially when you got so many moving parts, like a 6-woman schmoz like that. I mean, it's bound to get weird spots like that.
Yeah, and I really don't even like it if it's a 6-man men's match, but we had like
Whoa, 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 whoa,
18.
whoa, whoa! A trios match, you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, Bianca came in and she was stuck in the corner battling with Dakota. They went back and forth. And then when she went to Damage Control's corner, Bailey grabbed her braid and Dakota came in with the running big boot in the corner. So then when she came up, Io tagged Kai and Bailey then tagged herself in. So sorry, there's a lot of like pronouns and
Yeah,
moving parts in this last little segment. So then um Kai like just ran to the other corner after she slammed Bianca down. Io then landed a moonsault and or no, I'm sorry, Bailey landed a rose plant, then Io landed a moonsault off the top rope, and then Bailey rolled Bianca up 1, 2, 3. That
it
kind
was
of
weird.
convoluted finish, but it made sense.
It was weird.
And it's the first time Bianca's been pinned in 2022,
Wow.
which kind of shocked me. But I guess they're building up Bailey as a legit contender against her since she doesn't really have one on Raw right now. So overall, I mean, it was an alright match. It's just a lot of moving parts.
They placed it in the right spot. I'll say that.
Yeah. It didn't have a death slot,
Yeah.
and I think it being on first kind of helped it because they didn't have to follow anything really great, and it was just okay. So I was like, okay, we still got other things to look forward to.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, it was here.
Yeah, it was alright. It was alright. Nothing I'll go back and watch. But it was alright.
No. Bret Hart was in attendance in
Hey.
remembrance of the last time they were in the UK for a stadium show, which was 92 in Wembley Stadium for SummerSlam 92. Him and the British Bulldog main evented for the IC title, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Did you see that did you see that Brett had I guess he helped lay out the main event?
I did see that. That picture was it Roman, Brett,
Paul?
Michael Hayes, and Paul,
Yeah.
and they were all laying it out.
Why is Brett not doing like backstage stuff like that? You figure he'd be somebody that would want to give to the industry.
He may now more. I honestly can't answer. I heard back when there was rumors that he may be coming to AEW to like manage FTR or whatever. Um, he doesn't really want to be on the road a whole lot longer. So like he doesn't plan on doing any more conventions
That
or
makes sense.
anything.
Yeah.
So I mean he is kind of older. They probably wasted some of those years, being mad at each other. Because say like the 2000s and maybe early 2010s, he would have been down for something like that. But I don't know. I'm kind of surprised he never opened up a school or anything either. But he's kind of an odd cat, anyways.
Ah, man, come on, Brett. Brett ain't no odd cat. I mean, he got his heart broken by the WWE, and it just, I always get happy when I see Brett. I don't know why.
Yeah,
It's
I
always,
like
it's
Brett.
always good to see Brett on, because they never talked about him for so long, and now he's back with the family.
Yeah, it's not that I don't like Brett or anything like that.
You a Sean guy.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that, but it's not wrong. But he seems just a little like antisocial to me, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, I don't know anything I've ever seen of him in like an interview or anything. He's kind of like a reserved guy. That's just what I gather.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But speaking of the Intercontinental Championship, boy, Sheamus and Gunther was up next. Match of the night. Possibly. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Match of the weekend.
About to say, come on, man. It had to be. They beat the bejesus out of each other.
Yeah,
it lived
was
up to all the hype, too.
Absolutely. Match of the year candidate. I personally would not give it match of the year, but it at least deserves to be in the conversation.
Man, Sheamus had a great match with Drew on that SmackDown a couple of weeks ago.
The Donnybrook or whatever they dubbed it.
That was probably one of the best TV matches they did all year. He's had one of their best pay-per-view matches they did all year. Is Sheamus going to get some votes from us at the end of the year for Wrestler of the Year? Hey, man, he has an argument.
Yes.
He has an argument.
He deserves to be in the running. Maybe top 10. Only issue is he's lost all those matches. But I definitely think he should be able to, at some point, obviously not right now, because Gunther needs, a long reign with this belt. I think he needs to get that Intercontinental Championship at some point, and I think he deserves another world title run, because the UK crowd loved him.
Another world title run? Okay, man. Hold up now. You sure about that?
I mean,
come on, man. I like Sheamus, but another world title run? Maybe an IC title run. Not no world title. Especially if they're going to keep it unified like this. You can't give Sheamus
No, not a unified. Not the unified one. Just
which one?
A world title.
Well, it's unified right now. You can't just break a title up like that.
Nah, Cody Rhodes. Man, he could come out and say something goofy. My dad only fought for the WWE title, so Roman, that's what I want at WrestleMania. And he'd probably cry when he says it too.
And the fans will cheer.
Cody could make it make sense.
Cody, the top babyface in the company.
Anyways, to open this one up, Ludwig introduced Gunther as he usually does, and then before what you thought was going to be Gunther was Giovanni. Is it Vinci? Vinci?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't watch NXT. Yeah. But so now Imperium is complete on the main roster. What'd you think about that? I thought it was a good thing for everybody involved, really. Well, boost the tag team division, too.
The whole group got a name change. Giovanni wasn't Giovanni when they were Imperium.
What were they before?
Well, Ludwig was, I don't even remember his name, but Giovanni was, I really don't remember. And then Giovanni was, Fabian.
Was it Marcel?
No, yeah, Marcel something, and then Fabian Eichner was Giovanni's name. But Giovanni's been doing a new character on NXT that kind of hasn't been. It's been there. It's you remember what Tyler Breeze was doing in NXT? Like he was kind of like a male model.
Yeah. Oh, they should bring him back.
Hey, he's with the video game channel right now, so I mean, why not?
Maximum male model.
I wouldn't hate
it. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know. I know everybody hates the name changes, but me personally, I'd rather take Giovanni than Fabian Eichner or what.
it.
I don't know.
Really,
That
I
one don't
mean,
roll off the tongue.
yeah, I mean, both are not great names anyway, so who cares if they change it? He's really good in the ring, though.
Well, like I said, it'll boost the tag division, and I think it helps Gunther. But before we get in the match, Imperium and the Brutes just started brawling as Gunther and Sheamus kind of were respectful, waiting for the bell to ring as they just stared each other down, kind of like we've seen the past few weeks on SmackDown. Not even 3 minutes in, both of these guys were beat red in the chest. They were beating the piss out of each other. It was everything that it needed to be. It didn't hang around too long, and Gunther dominated, but Sheamus still got good offense in. Sheamus pulled himself up backwards onto the top rope as Gunther quickly recovered and chopped him off of the turnbuckle. He was slapping him in the face, chops to the chest, neck, back, shoulders, wherever he could slap him, he was. Sheamus, about 10 minutes in, looked like he had ran through like a patch of briars. It started to get a little nasty.
There was welts everywhere on his face, back,
Yeah.
chest. Looked like hamburger meat on his chest.
It made me think of when Dax, when they were having the 2 out of 3 falls with the Briscoes, and he was bleeding from his chest. And then you see him get chopped after he's already doing that, and you're like, oh God, like you just wince at it, kind of like you did when Ric Flair would take any bump in Nashville. But Gunther threw Sheamus outside and over the announce table. Sheamus regained his composure, pulled Gunther over the announce table and started doing the forearm bashes, threw him back in the ring and started doing the forearm bashes on the chest. Sheamus landed a white noise, but Gunther managed to kick out of it. The crowd was super hot for Sheamus. He lined up for the brogue kick, but Gunther reversed it into a power bomb. Close 2 count, didn't get the 3. He climbed back up to the top rope as they fought back and forth. Sheamus managed to catch him in a Celtic cross, which is, I think that's what it's called, right? The Razor's Edge,
yes,
basically.
Sir. That was the first time he hit it in years. That was his finisher when he got in the company.
That was his finish in FCW. That's what I remember.
Yeah. That was his finish when he got to the main roster in like 09 or when he was on ECW. Did you notice that he was wearing his old gear too?
Yes, I did forget to make mention of that, but yeah, he had the cross and everything when he came out, which I thought was cool because obviously, I mean, they're in the UK, so it made sense.
I wish he would stay like that. I don't want him dressing like he works at like the harbor or something. I don't.
He looks like some like, I don't know, 1900s picture of like downtown Chicago industry workers. That's what I think of every time I see him. He just looks so,
like,
it's odd.
It's very off-putting. It's very hokey.
Yeah.
Like, get him his old gear back, man.
I agree. But like I said, he landed the Celtic cross, crawled his way to make the pin, but Gunther still had some fight in him, and the crowd went crazy. They thought it was over when Sheamus hit that.
I did too.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I really felt like Gunther was going to win, but it was good enough that I thought it got me for a second. But Sheamus got back up, went to go for the brogue kick, but his back gave out because earlier when Gunther landed the power bomb, he kind of landed on his tailbone a little bit, so it made sense that his back gave out. Gunther landed a just absolutely disgusting lariat. 1, 2, 3. Gunther retains.
Man, that clothesline made JBL jealous. It was. I like how Gunther just ends his matches like with whatever. It makes it way more unpredictable.
Yeah, it's never the same, it feels like, and that's something that, I mean, obviously you got to finish a move, but it just like you said, UFC fights might end in a head kick, might end in an uppercut, you might tap somebody out, might end in a body shot. Like you never know. So the variation keeps it fun and interesting because you never know when it's truly going to be over. Overall, I would say if you didn't watch this match,
Oof.
definitely go back and watch it.
Jesus,
Because it was
drop what you're doing. Pause the podcast. Go watch this match. This was a barn burner. The crowd was hot. They beat each other up with hard strikes, slaps. Man, this was all you could want if you're a fan of really strong style wrestling, you'd be in heaven watching this match.
Yeah, I personally put it on some of the best matches I've ever watched with a 7.3. So definitely, like I will go back and watch this at some point in time. Like you said, whatever you're doing right now, it ain't more important than going back and watching this match.
What was the jabroni that Gunther had a match with in the UK that everybody was talking about last year? I forget his name.
Called him a jabroni, like he didn't have match of the year. You talking about
I forget his name.
I'm gonna mispronounce it, but you're gonna correct me when you hear it. Is it Iuga?
Oh, Ilya Dragunov. Yeah,
Ilya.
I would put that on par with the Ilya matches because this had an actual crowd, and I mean I think the second match that they had a crowd too, but it just felt more big time in front of a stadium full of people.
I'm pretty sure the second match they had was in like the NXT UK Thunderdome. I could
Yeah,
be wrong. I've never seen them, but I have seen clips. I think that one was in the Thunderdome.
yeah, and then the
But
first one
yeah,
was with no crowd.
okay. Well, on this stage, like you said, this is a great match of the weekend. Uh, and it didn't overstay either. It made perfect sense how long it was. Great. I mean, I can't rave about it enough. You know what I mean?
You couldn't see through any of those strikes either. Like you couldn't say, "Oh man, that looked like a fake punch." No, no, they were throwing like they owed each other money. They were throwing haymakers.
Yeah. Okay, give me just a second before we move on to the next match. I gotta go pee.
All right. Ooh boy.
All right. You still there?
Yes, sir.
All right. I did want to throw this in about the Gunther match.
What?
Hold on. Let me. Hold on, you still through your AirPods?
Yeah.
Okay. It quit doing it now. There's some weird feedback, like I could hear myself. I also want to say this before we move on to the unfortunate following match.
Oh God.
This is a match that you can show people who don't watch wrestling. Like if there's one that I would say, you know, you got some friends over, don't really like wrestling, want to show them a good match. This is one to put on because, like you said, you can't really see through it. And the damage that they did shows on their body later. It's not like, oh, he did a super kick and then he's just back up and there's nothing on his face. So, and that to me is one of the highest praises you can give a match.
Yeah.
That you
Something
could show it to somebody who doesn't watch wrestling.
Exactly. You rather show the people this than Adam Cole versus Orange Cassidy and, whatever the match they had.
Well, speaking of matches you wouldn't want to show your friends, next up for the SmackDown Women's Championship was Shayna Baszler versus Liv Morgan. You watch this?
I watched the end. I seen the
Yeah.
end. Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
that's all I saw.
I seen Liv was training with Riddle. Saw that, but that wasn't on this show. Man, Shayna, she yeah. All right.
This was here.
Yeah,
The
okay.
people in the UK watched this. It was
They
in front
did.
of them.
They were there. I was not. I was not in
Yeah.
front of the TV. And when I was, I quickly fast forwarded.
I mean, I was watching this one live, or the show live, not this match. It was, I say it was early. It was like 1. I had a late night and not gonna lie, kind of passed out. I was up for the ending though. Liv hit the Oblivion, retained the title. Yeah. Like,
Okay.
I don't know, man. I just don't care about her reign and anything she's doing.
Liv sucks.
It's like you said a few weeks ago. Somebody in the back just thinks she's hot, and that's the only reason she's in this position. Because in the ring,
She
ooh,
sucks. She
buns.
sucks. Yeah, she's terrible. What else we got? What else happened in the show?
Next up,
Oh, okay.
and I was also asleep for this.
What? Come
was
on, man. This was a good match.
Edge and Rey Mysterio versus the Judgment Day. The opening sequence was good. The 62,000 people in attendance sung like the entirety of Edge's theme song, which was really cool. And he came out in a mask, which I thought he was going to keep on for the whole match, but he didn't. So I thought that was kind of funny, and it was really cool hearing like that many people singing that song because it's not necessarily one that's like super easy to follow. You know what I mean? Like everybody says boom when Adam Cole comes out, but there's like all of 3 things you have to remember. So
I gotta be honest, Micah. I've been watching Edge my entire life, and he's had that song majority of the time I've been watching, and I could not tell you for the life of me what the lyrics to that song is.
I know I could tell you, but I mean I was a big Edge fan, so
Well, his old theme.
yeah, you a big Christian guy.
Well, I mean, Christian did have superior themes, but that's beside the point. I digress.
Christian does have good themes. 1A, 1B. What old theme you think is better? The old Rob Zombie one?
Yeah, I like that one more.
It fit. It fit for that era of Edge, but I don't know. I like this one more.
No,
then
you
again, I grew
can't.
up on it.
No. You can't say that, but then get butt hurt because Drew McIntyre doesn't come out to Broken Dreams anymore, even though it doesn't fit his character anymore to have broken dreams.
It does.
No, it does not.
We'll get there.
It does not.
We'll get there.
It doesn't.
Man, they teased us.
We got it.
Anyways, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I fell asleep during this match and I couldn't tell you a whole lot about it. So I'll let you take the floor here, and then we'll get to the ending because I did see that. I heard it was good. I mean, I'm sorry, the Liv match put me to sleep, and the Edge and Ray match led me to green pastures and to the deep sleep. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you
I
see
really don't
Edge
care about
hit?
the Judgment Day.
Did you see Edge hit the 619? You see that?
Nope.
Yeah, he hit at 619. Clean. It was really clean too. Like 48-year-old Edge hit a really good 619. Edge speared Priest through the ropes. Like Edge went all out in this match.
Dang. I
I mean,
mean, he had a Canadian Destroyer a few weeks ago, so I don't doubt it. Dude's putting on good matches.
he's been impressing me. He's still no Christian, but he's been impressing me. I really thought that the Judgment Day was going to win this match, but they made up for it with the aftermath, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of shocked about because I woke up right before it ended. And did Finn take the pin?
Finn did take the pin, yeah.
Okay, so then Finn got pinned, and I believe Dom helped him get to the win somehow. Like I said, I was
He tripped up. He tripped Finn's like leg when he was running the ropes, and the referee didn't see it.
okay. So then, after the match, Edge and Ray are in there, and Dom comes in, and they're all like celebrating, and then he kicks Edge square in the nuts. And
Hold up, let me point this out first.
okay.
Did you see that Ray hit Ripley in the match?
No, I didn't.
He hit a tope suicida on her.
Oh
Finally got to
man.
hit Rhea.
I mean, she deserves it
She did
after
deserve
what
it.
she's been doing.
She did. Yeah,
So then,
Ray finally got his revenge though.
good on Ray. His inner Chris Brown came out. That was a low ball. I'm sorry.
Hey, well, Ray hit Nia Jax. He's gonna hit Rhea Ripley. Who's the next girl to get hit by Ray?
Apparently he's beating his kids after playing
Yeah,
WWE 13.
2K13. You done beat
um.
Paraguayo.
Oh man. Oh man.
All
That was a
right,
low blow.
let's
Ray
move
didn't
on.
deserve that.
Come on, let's move on.
So then, I was saying, Dom kicks Edge in the nuts, and then Ray like pushes him. You know, what are you doing, man? What the crap? And then he made Gunther jealous. He clotheslined the absolute piss out of Ray. And then just left and was pissed off as the Judgment Day laughed. I enjoyed the turn, and it was shocking. It just doesn't. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense at the
Ah,
time.
ah. Man, that clothesline, he hit Ray so hard, his shoes came off. You saw that? See how
I
both
did
his
see
shoes
that.
fell off? How does that happen?
I don't know, man. It was a solid clothesline. It's the
He
most
laid it
impressive
in.
Dom's ever looked.
Looked like Stan Hansen out there laying that lariat in there. Um, it
But
made they was building it up on TV for a while. We were saying they should make Dom turn, and now that it happened, I thought there isn't a better way that it could have happened. Really, because he didn't. The Judgment Day has been beating him down the last what 2 months, 3 months. So he's not just gonna side with them. They've been, jabroning him every single week, and he's been hell bent that Ray has taken Edge's side throughout this whole endeavor. So he's gonna attack the guy that he had beef with too, in Edge, and Ray being a little punk, trying to discipline his kid. Man, I'm a grown man. Take this clothesline with you. I don't fault Dom for this. You ain't ever want to clothesline your dad, Micah?
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
he
man.
woke up late and we didn't get to go to a live show one time.
That's what I'm saying, Micah. You ain't never hit him with a lariat. It it it
No,
was
but
it was a good turn, and the
it
crowd reacted.
the turn itself was good. It's just all of it at once was kind of weird to me because he helped Edge and Ray win and then did the turn. I think I would have liked it more if it was, something let me think. Maybe something along the lines of like Rhea's on the ropes distracting Ray, and Dom could break it up, and he's like, "Yeah, you know what? I'll let you handle your own business since you want to take Edge's side." And then Finn rolls him up, and then the Judgment Day gets their win. Edge and Ray are obviously pissed. Dom goes in the ring. Ray's like, "What the heck?" And then he does all that. I think that makes more sense than helping them win and then turning on them.
Well, he still had beef with Judgment Day, though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's not necessarily helping them, but he's not hurting them either.
I don't know. I don't think it was a bad way to turn them. I enjoyed it. The crowd reacted favorably to the turn. I really don't think you can poke holes in this. I mean, this was a good turn. It was unexpected how they did it, and wasn't illogical how they did it. You just armchairing booking this. It made sense, Michael.
All right, I'll give you benefit of the doubt because I was
It made more
asleep during the
sense
match.
than exactly. You want to compare that to Will Hobbs' turn that we had a couple weeks ago? Is that what you want to do? Let's compare the
They
product,
both
man.
have they both have instances of rushing it in terms or doing too much at one
Oh,
time,
come on,
but
man. What they've
Dom's
been?
turn was definitely better than say the Gun Club or the Will Hobbs turn.
I forgot about the Gun Club. Okay, all right, we'll agree to disagree on this one. It was a
Well,
good match, though.
I mean, I agree with you for the most part, and I'll take your word that it was a good match. I was, somewhere in pastures running through the flowers or whatever in my mind. Who knows? Anyways, after this, we moved on. Not a match that I was expecting to like.
Mm,
Well, I say that. I like both in ring. I just don't care for either of them as characters.
characters,
But
yeah,
we had Seth Rollins versus Matt Riddle, and he is Matt now.
yes, sir.
Uh, now, let me say this before
Oh
we
God.
get to the actual match. So Seth on Raw, because we didn't get to go over this, said
Mm.
some comments about Riddle's family leaving him and his ex-wife, and that's why they left you, and it was very heated. Now, if it were me, if somebody said something about my wife, I hot take, I don't think I'm gonna ride a scooter into that fight or kick my flip flops off and have animals fly out of my nether regions. I'm just saying it bothered me.
You
I think he
nitpicking.
should have been more serious for this high level feud.
No, hold up now. When the bell rung, they didn't do a collar elbow tie up. They went straight to brawling. So it's not like they try to have a wrestling match. You just nitpicking this because you don't like Matt. You don't like Matt Riddle. Well, you gonna nitpick everything he does.
I mean, yeah. Well, it's the same way as like when Jeff Hardy debuted and his brother's getting beat up in the middle of the ring, he's like, "Oh, I gotta do my little juke." Like, I mean, it's funny, but it just bothers me. It's just not the time for it. I don't know.
Well, it's the world of pro wrestling. You just gotta suspend your disbelief.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Hey, but they did. I mean, they had a little altercation in the parking lot too on that show that we didn't cover. I like how they
Yeah,
filmed that.
before the show.
Yeah, they filmed it like it wasn't supposed to happen, like a fan camera footage. They should do more of that.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
And I don't really. Let me recap it, like we said, because we didn't get to do this Raw and Dynamite episode. They just were kind of on opposite ends of the parking lot, and then ran at each other, started brawling, and
On the
then
site.
some backstage officials split them up, and then later in the night they had was it like a call-in interview from both of them, and that's
Yeah.
where Seth said the comments about his wife and kids leaving him. But so I mean, the build's been okay for two guys that I don't really care for. The match started out hot. They went to the outside, back and forth, all that jazz. Seth hit a nasty buckle bomb into the barricade, which scares me every time I see him do it, especially on the barricade. But I didn't hear anything come out of it, so
Oh
you
man,
know. I
he
mean,
ain't
my
got a
man almost killed Sting.
yeah, he ain't got a good history of hitting that move.
Riddle was draped off the top rope as Seth did the stomp down onto him, kind of like there's somebody that does that move, but I can't think of who it is. I know Finn does
It's
it, but it's on
Swerve.
the
Don't
ground.
don't Swerve do that?
Swerve. Yeah,
Yeah.
the swerve stomp. And then Seth hit him with a superplex, but Riddle reversed it. Well, let me back up. I hadn't really explained that one so well. So Rollins went for the superplex and he landed it, and then he rolled through it, but instead of him doing the
Falcon Arrow
Falcon's arrow, Riddle reversed it.
into a Fisherman
Now,
Buster.
okay, are we just not selling the superplex anymore?
Man, Rollins always hits that. You just now. I mean, Rollins, like, he absorbs the superplex too, but he bounces right back up as well. So, I mean, are you surprised at this point, Micah? This your first
I mean,
Seth
I'm
Rollins
not.
match?
I guess I hadn't seen him do it in a while. It bothered me. Well,
They almost killed
it's
each other.
2022.
They almost killed each other on the top rope. Did you see that when like Riddle lost his footing?
I I see him lose his footing a little bit, but
They
I
almost
didn't
died,
notice
man.
like anything bad come out of it.
I mean, Rollins had to save that, but
Hmm. Oh well, I mean, my man's solid in the ring, just he's on PCP.
mm,
Riddle hit a nice combo of a GTS into a power bomb and then a running knee, but only got a 2 count off of it. Seth hit Riddle with Riddle's finish that I don't know the name of, and I didn't catch it when they were saying it on the announce
bro, Derek,
table.
bro, Derek.
Huh?
You say he hit what you talking about when Rollins hit the bro Derek on him?
Can you spell that for me?
Bro
What?
Derek, BRO space DEREK, bro Derek.
What does that mean?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but that's what they call it.
I literally wrote down Seth hit Riddle with his own finish, but it had a stupid name.
Isn't
That's
it like a
exactly what I wrote
reference
down.
to somebody?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about Matt Riddle. He has stupid names and calls everything bro, and I hate his theme song, and I hate the scooter, and I hate the random animals flying out. I just, I really cannot stand him. He could be Shawn Michaels, and yet he is Eugene
Oh no, he's
2022.
he's legit, man. He's a
He's
legit
good,
UFC
good in the
fighter.
ring.
He's a legit UFC fighter. He'll beat up Punk.
Oh, low blow.
Oh,
Hey, well, we know he can beat up the Young Bucks, cause.
oh man.
Anyways, some good back and forth late with knees and forearms. Riddle went for a power bomb, but Seth flipped out of it into a pedigree. Only got a 2 count though. Rollins talked down to Riddle, and he got him kind of worked up as he took the upper hand and landed Randy's middle rope DDT. Rollins, there's a whole lot of R's, and Rollins went to go for the RKO, but Riddle reversed it into a rear naked choke. Riddle then went out. It's just one of them nights. Riddle went to the outside to grab a chair, but when he came back in, Seth landed a curb stomp, then went to the middle rope for another curb stomp. 1, 2, 3. Seth picked up the win. What did you think about the match? I thought it was pretty solid. Seth's always good, but I just wasn't like super invested in it.
It was really good. It was third match of the night. I feel like they can do a lot better though. Like this feels like a longer program. Like they're gonna stretch this out a little longer, and I'm all for it because these guys have some really good chemistry in the ring.
Yeah, I just the only thing that kind of took me back was I wonder why they took it off the SummerSlam card now. If they were just going to push it
Well,
back,
I
Clash
mean,
at the Castle, you know what I mean?
you added more gasoline to it. Did you really care about it going into the SummerSlam? Did you remotely
No.
care about it in Clash though? Like you kind of cared about it going into Clash though, right?
Yeah, a little bit, especially after the
Exactly. I
stuff
mean,
that happened on Monday.
so why have like a heatless match on the card on SummerSlam just for the sake of having a match? You don't need to bloat these cards out. If the fans don't care about it, why does it need to be on a pay per view or premium live event, as they call it now? Which we'll get
I
to it when
guess
we
you got a
talk
point.
about the other garbage show we watched on Sunday. Did you notice that Rollins, like, he said GD and they didn't like censor it out on the live feed?
Yeah, and somebody I thought, but maybe that was on the AEW show. No, that was on the AEW show. Yeah, I did notice it, but I thought maybe because it's on Premium Live Event, they just don't care.
Might be a little shades of TV 14 incoming. Maybe.
Well, Triple H shot them rumors down. I think
Oh
on the Ariel
God,
Helwani show, he said that they were going to stay PG.
man, let us dream. Just let us dream, Micah.
But even in the back and forth between Seth and Riddle, I think one of them said like the F word, and they blurred it obviously, but um,
I ain't
I mean that's
never.
still
Yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, I used to watch a lot of Nickelodeon, and I don't remember no F bombs being dropped on a Nickelodeon show. Aren't they TV PG just like that?
yeah. The only thing I can remember maybe like regular show because I think they said like piss, and I was like, oh my god, at like 8 years old. So obviously hearing that, uh, there are definitely seeds of change. If Vince was there, I don't think that would have happened. So we'll see where it goes, but I thought it was a solid match. It'll probably wrap up at Survivor Series or something like that.
I like Rollins got to
What pay
win.
per view's next?
Extreme Rules in Philadelphia.
Mm.
They played a vignette for it, and they had Paul Heyman doing like the voiceover for it, which was pretty cool because it's in Philadelphia, and the pay per view is Extreme Rules, which was I think that was it morphed into that Extreme Rules, the ECW One Night Stand shows.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, now that you mention it, those two were kind of coincide with each other basically. Hey, maybe with Triple H it'll actually be extreme instead of like, zombies.
And if
Or was that at
Roman,
Backlash?
I think that was Backlash, but now that if Roman, now that Roman has retained the title, he's probably not going to defend it at Extreme Rules. So I can see Rollins and Matt Riddle, having the main event for that pay per view and like an Extreme Rules match. I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, it's already been confirmed. Roman will not be there
Dang.
at Extreme Rules. I think the next time he's slated is for a September 23rd or something like that. I read an article, some late September SmackDown, but as of right now, he's not listed to be there at Extreme Rules, which is so dumb. And
Card, I
we'll
mean,
get why next.
yeah, we will. Card subject to change though. We don't know. Maybe because I heard
That's
they
true.
brought somebody back on Monday night, so maybe he's next in line for the title. I don't know. We'll see.
Mm, we'll see. But we'll move on. Main event time here in
Oof,
Cardiff.
oof.
Hometown Boy versus the Tribal Chief for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns.
Atmosphere was crazy. It felt like
Oh
a
yeah,
main event fight for boxing. Like it was the crowd was on fire. As soon as
it
that
felt like a WrestleMania.
it did, and as soon as that opening riff of Broken Dreams hit, like the crowd was singing along. Man, it just made you like realize Roman and Drew are one of the top guys in the business right now. Especially when you compare
Yeah.
it to the abomination we saw on Sunday night. I mean, these guys just feel
Oh,
big
get out of
time.
here.
They just feel big time, you know. And when you compare it to the lesser talent on the next show, it puts it in perspective. But go ahead.
I would believe you, but I know what you're saying. You don't believe yourself.
Hmm?
You're just saying that.
What you mean?
You're just stirring the pot.
Hmm?
You don't
Nah.
believe,
Roman is the
man.
biggest star in the
Anyways,
company.
Okay. Roman's the
Roman is
biggest
the
star
biggest
in
star
business
in the
right now.
industry. In the industry.
Okay.
I
I'll
thought
agree with you on that one.
I really thought you were gonna disagree. Okay, all right.
No, I give you that. Roman is number one clear cut in the business.
And when you want a number one top babyface or heel, your number one guy is supposed to look like a Roman Reigns. A guy that's not going to cause backstage drama. He's not going to run and cry about something that didn't go his way. He's not gonna backdoor somebody out the company. He's just going to show up. He's going to draw you money, and he's going to make the company look good. And that's something that you want in a number one guy, right, Michael?
Hold on, let me run that back real quick. You said he is going to show up?
Yeah, he's gonna show
Is
up.
he?
I mean, when he's
Well,
booked, he shows
once a
up.
month? Once
Was
a
he gonna?
month?
Is he gonna be out 3 months by stage diving? I don't know. He's not gonna do that.
I mean, Roman's been hurt before. That Roman ain't here every week though. So
You don't need him every week.
what we're getting we're going off on a
Well,
tangent.
don't get
You
hot
get me
about
all
it.
riled up and
Don't
it
get
ain't
hot about
time
it.
for it yet.
I'm just saying. Don't get hot about it. Roman, number one guy.
Anyways, they did bring back Broken Dreams as a tease here.
Hey, it wasn't no
They played it for
tease.
like they played it for like the first 30 seconds, and then he came out to the sword song
It
and
was a
had the sword.
montage. It was a montage of his career. What else do you want? Did you want him to come out
I
to
want it.
like the whole song?
Yes,
It doesn't fit his character, Micah.
it does. It's better
No.
than ba-dum, 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 just like everybody else's theme song.
People like that theme. I like that theme. Makes it feel
It's
like he's
better
about to
than
go
the other
into a.
ones, but
Well, that's not really saying much, but I particularly like
exactly.
his new theme. It's Broken Dream just doesn't fit him, man. I don't know. His current incarnation, it doesn't fit him.
Well,
But it was a nice little
regardless,
montage. Nice little montage.
yeah, they always have good production. We always say that every week. This one started pretty slow. They locked up early, trying to push each other back and gain their footing. Roman seemed really like out of sorts, not like in a real life way, but in like he was selling, that all these people were cheering for Drew or whatever.
Yeah.
Drew took control on the outside, and then randomly a water bottle flies in and smacks him out of nowhere. Which at first I was like, what the crap? Why would you throw that at Drew? But then it was obviously Karrion Kross with Scarlett at ringside, and they were jawing at Drew and Roman both.
They're treating Cross like a top guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give
I'm
him
not
that.
I'm not all the way out on him just yet. His last tenure with the company was so bad. So bad. And not just the dominatrix suit that he was wearing, just his NXT presentation. When Adam Cole neutered him in that promo, the whole crowd turned on him, the IWC turned on him. But now since he's been back, I don't know. I'm open to the idea of him being in the main event scene. I'm not hating it.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't see any of the NXT stuff. I saw some of the dominatrix awful garbage they tried to get him to do, but man, everybody online hates him.
He just never had a good
I like it.
match. He just never had a good match in NXT, Micah. It was the black and gold NXT too. Where everything was indie-rific. Like you expect 5-star classics as your main event, as your top guy, and he just didn't have those. All his matches were anticlimactic, and that part of that had to do with it being in the empty arena era as well. But still, I don't know, man. It's just the IWC turned on him hard when Cole cut that promo on him.
I don't know. I mean, like you said, I guess it was because it was black and gold, but I personally ain't got nothing against him, and I'm interested in the gimmick. So I'll give it a chance. I'm open to anything.
I give his wife a chance.
Roman, huh?
Nothing. Come on, let's go.
No.
No, let's move on. Let's move on.
Roman grabbed a mic as Drew landed a Glasgow kiss to try and fight his way back out of it. Roman
Jesus,
obviously was saying the acknowledge me thing.
there was
I don't
sweat
know how he
everywhere, man.
pulls off. Yeah, I was about to say I don't know how he pulls off the Glasgow kiss, but it looks devastating, and I don't know how he like makes it not hit.
It looks
Obviously,
it looks devastating in real time, but once you slow it down, it looks kind of hokey. But they filmed it or shot it in a way where you couldn't really see through it. It looked like he killed Roman with that headbutt. Like if that was the finish,
yeah.
I would understand because
And
there was sweat everywhere.
I was about to say, and like you said, it just flew off of both of them. Drew picked up some momentum after this, landing some clotheslines and some belly to bellies, building up his strength and everything. Yeah, Drew put Roman on the top as he was going for the superplex, but then Roman reversed it as Drew was hung in like a tree of woe. And then as Roman's kind of collecting his thoughts and everything, Drew pulls himself up and then belly to bellies Roman off the top rope, which is just like insane core strength to be able to do that. Um, so I mean, more props to the guy because he's freaking jacked, and it should have been his night. We'll keep going. Roman got in the driver's seat after this. He hit the ropes as Drew reversed him into a spine buster. Got a deep 2 count on this one. Roman then lined up for the Superman punch, but Drew reversed it into the Future Shock DDT, to which Drew went for the Claymore, but Roman reversed it into another Superman punch. Close 2 count. Drew still had some fight in him. Roman then dialed up the spear. Drew reversed it into a big boot, fell back into the ropes for the rebound, and then Roman came back with a spear. Still, when you think it's over, Drew's got more fight in him because I really thought it was done with here. Roman was shocked at this point that he wasn't able to put him away by now. He got back up, locked in the guillotine on Drew. He started to fight his way out of it, but then Roman did the thing, he jumps up, puts his legs around his waist or whatever, really cinched it in, and Drew still, he didn't even go down to his knees, I don't think. He ran Roman into the turnbuckle as he spilled to the outside. Drew rolls to the outside, spears him through the barricade, throws him back in, and then he sets up for the Claymore. When he comes running at him with the Claymore, Roman lands another spear. I believe this is the 3rd spear now. Maybe I'm wrong, but to take 3 and still kick out here, I was kind of shocked because it was like at every Superman punch or spear, I was like, oh, that's it. Oh, that's it. Oh, that's it. Roman started arguing with the ref as Drew landed another Claymore, knocked them both out, including the ref. So the ref spilled to the outside, and then A-Town down. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Theory was fixing to win it for a split second.
I did too.
But
It's Theory has the perfect theme for Money in the Bank cash in too.
oh yeah, it's such a instant, and then it's like boo, just immediately fills the arena.
This was
Um,
this is the second pay-per-view in a row he's gotten beat down when he's tried to cash in.
yeah, I was about to say that as the trend continues for him, he got completely jabroned here. Which I mean, it makes sense for him to get knocked out from one punch from the heavyweight champion Tyson Fury, who was ringside.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know.
Why did Fury do that? Why did Fury do that to Theory?
I guess he was scared for his hometown guy, but then,
What? No, because he was on Roman's side too.
well, we'll get to it.
But no, but like earlier
um,
on in the night, they were talking in the locker room. Remember?
oh, you're right.
Yeah, he was, and they showed him talking with Drew as well. So, what's his beef with Theory? And
Uh,
I know we're not building up a match between Fury and Theory. Let's try to say that 3 times fast. Because Fury can't. Is he allowed in the United States? I
Tyson
think
Fury?
he's banned from the United States for something. Like he has ties to some big mob boss or something like that.
Are you sure?
I'm
I thought they held fights in the U.S.
no. Nah, Fury is like banned from the, well, not officially banned, but Like he has he hangs out with some really important people that the U.S. is beefing with. So I don't think he can be in the U.S. So we're not building up to
Oh,
a feud with Theory. What are we doing?
you're correct. I don't know. I didn't know that. His
What
election.
what is it?
John Fury, father to World Heavyweight Champion Tyson Fury, has confirmed that he and his son are no longer able to fly to America due to their links with Irish crime lord Daniel. I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Bear with me. Kinahan.
Mm, that sounds right.
So yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
that's crazy though. Like
Well then,
so,
yeah, that makes this even more weird.
but he's had a match before. Did you ever see his match in the when he wrestled in Saudi Arabia?
Tyson Fury did?
Yes, he had a match with Braun Strowman in Saudi Arabia.
No, I had no idea that occurred.
Yes, man. Like it was a terrible match, but it just feels like a fever dream that actually happened. I think on the same show, Brock wrestled what's his name? The UFC guy that beat him up twice. What was his name?
Oh man, Cain Velasquez.
Cain Velasquez. Yes, Brock and him had a match over there in Saudi Arabia too.
Wow, imagine being able to go. Well, I say that. I was about to say, imagine being able to go to Saudi, but not the U.S. But
Oh
never
well,
mind. I think that works
yeah.
the other way.
We're getting off topic though. But
Yeah,
still, Fury and Theory, they're not building to a match, so I don't know, man. I don't like Austin Theory getting neutered every single time he's on TV. It seems counterproductive when you do stuff like that, especially because when he gets super kicked by the 5'6" Johnny
hmm.
Gargano, or he's getting knocked out by. I know he's a world champion boxer, but he's still. I mean, he's in their world in that show. He's in a pro wrestling arena, not in a boxing arena. So I
And
don't know, man.
to your point, and then we'll close this up. If they do come back for another Clash at the Castle next year and say that they want to do Theory versus Fury, is Theory ready enough to like lead somebody through a match? Like, is he there yet?
Mm, mm. Austin Theory is really good in the ring. He just doesn't strike me as the like Shawn Michaels type where you can get a great match out of a broomstick, or like Daniel Bryan. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I'm sure the crowd will be hot for it because the crowd does love Fury. We're just hating
and hate
because
Theory.
yeah, we're just hating because Fury sung Margaritaville at the end of the show. But I don't know, man. I didn't particularly like how they used Austin Theory in this moment.
I would have been happier if it actually was Margaritaville that he sung.
I would have been happy with
Anyways,
Austin Theory cashing in.
yeah, rather than what happened. Roman then grabs a chair and go. And this is what I thought too. Again, we'll wrap it up after this. If he hit Theory for trying to cash in, why did he not go help Drew when Roman's obviously trying to cheat?
That's
Like then I would have been like, okay, that would have made sense. But like,
that's a good
I don't know.
observation too. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
So Roman, like I said, grabs a chair, goes in to hit Drew, but Drew hits another Claymore, deep 2 count, but Roman still kicked out, which I genuinely thought it was over with there. I thought
Oh man,
that's it.
crowd did too. Crowd did too.
Yeah. And they were up for this entire match, which obviously is their hometown guy, whatever. They go back and forth for a little bit. Drew lands a spear and then lands another Claymore. Still, I was like, oh, well, here we go. Because the crowd was electric because it was over with. This was it. And then one, two, no. The ref is snatched out from behind. Some hooded figure, not Dexter Loomis this time. Solo Sokoa is the one that snatched the ref out of the ring, and the whole place is pissed. So then Drew looks at him on the outside, and Solo, does kind of like a top rope stunner type thing, pulls him down over it. Drew turns around right into a spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns retains with Solo Sikoa helping him in Drew McIntyre's hometown.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not hometown.
Not hometown, but home country, sort of.
No, not even that.
Well,
He's from that part of the world.
I mean, it's all the UK. I don't know. I mean, I guess
Oh, okay. So you identify as Canadian, Micah?
no, but I'm saying we're the United States. I'm
Okay.
American.
Sure. But if somebody says, I mean, United States and Canada, same thing, right? I mean, are you gonna
Okay,
take too
anyways,
kindly to
it's
that?
it's overseas, and Drew had a big fan support here,
He did.
and Roman won, and they were not thrilled about it, nor
They
was
were
I.
mad. They were mad.
And then
Oh God. Oh
the
my God.
more atrocious part of it,
This was, you cannot this. Okay, just go ahead.
where do I begin, man? So then Roman is in the ring celebrating that he got away once again, and Tyson Fury comes in the ring, and I was like, oh, here we go. And so he extends his hand, and Roman shakes his hand. And I was like, okay, we'll close it here. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Roman leaves with Solo Sikoa. Okay, we'll close it here. Mm-mm. Tyson Fury grabs a mic and tells Drew that even though he lost, he should be proud of the fight. And then, I kid you not, they started singing American Pie together in the ring after Drew just lost. And then after that, they started singing some other song that I couldn't make out what it was. But let's keep in mind here that Drew lost the match. Like Tyson Fury, apparently, because I don't know, I don't really watch boxing. Apparently, Tyson Fury sings American Pie after his matches. Tyson Fury also wins his matches when he sings it. And at this point, I was like, there's no way that they meant for this to air. Like, this has to be, they meant to close the show, right? And then Drew tells everybody that he hopes they have a good night, and then the show ended. It was like the weirdest thing I've ever witnessed. It was Luger was it '92 at SummerSlam. I don't know what
No,
else to say.
that was 90. But it doesn't matter. It was bad. The singing part was bad, but the ending. Let's go back to the ending. Was it controversial to have Roman go over? Yes. Did it irritate the UK fans? Yes. But for the long-term future of the company, it made sense. And I'll tell you what, Micah. What was Drew doing at WrestleMania this year, Micah? Who was he wrestling?
Madcap Moss.
Madcap Moss. And Happy Corbin. Do you really think this was the guy that could dethrone Roman Reigns' 700-day title reign? You think that was the guy? Or was it the guy that they rolled the red carpet out for, that they let him beat one of their top stars in night one of coming back to the company, and that was continuously treated like the number one babyface in the company since he got back? Wouldn't that be the guy you have dethroned Roman Reigns' historic title reign? And I'm talking about Cody Rhodes on that part.
Uh, mm. I
Just
see
because
your
they're in the
point.
hometown or home area doesn't mean you have to give them a title win. Like if they're in Montreal a month from now, are you going to let Sami Zayn win the world championship? If it makes
No,
long-term sense to the creative plan, Micah, you stay the course. You don't call an audible because they're just in the home area. How does that make sense in the long-term plan?
okay. Hold that audible statement you just said. I'm gonna hold you to that in about 30 minutes when we get to another match. But anyways, I see your point. I really do. But we said for the past 2 to 3 weeks, both of us on the SmackDown reviews, it was Drew's time. Like he was the guy. He was built up. People were behind him. It was in his hometown. That was it. It was the time to do it. And if they wanted to do that, then that's one thing. With the whole Cody thing, I get it if he's going to hold it till Mania. But one, the part-time champion sucks. I hate this. I hate when Brock did it. I hate when Roman does it because it's great when he's on TV, but when he's not, the whole show lacks because there's nobody there to lead it. It's just stupid. And this was the time to do it in, Wales. Uh, the whole crowd was into it, and they were so pissed after this. Like you could literally hear people chanting AEW.
Oh, well,
Just
hold
take
up now.
this.
No, it was a couple
Yes, you
fans. Stop
could.
it. Stop it, man. It wasn't the whole
You could.
crowd.
You
Stop
could
it.
hear it though.
You could hear it on a couple fans in the front row, just like you could hear that fan chanting Colt Cabana at CM Punk a couple weeks ago. It doesn't mean the whole crowd was chanting Colt Cabana.
I'm
The
not
whole
saying
crowd
that,
wasn't
but I'm
chanting
saying,
AEW.
but they weren't singing American Pie with them either because they were pissed and they were
Yeah.
just done for the rest of the night.
Well, of course, it was the
And
main event. Of course, they were done.
oh god. Anyways, it's one thing to have him lose and then the show close. It's another thing to have Tyson Fury come over there and them sing together. That's what really made it. Like I was already
I
like,
get
oh
that.
my god.
Okay, I completely agree with you on that. That sucked. That had no right to be on the show. That should have been off camera. I wouldn't have had no problem with it. The fact that it made air, somebody should get fired for airing that. But still, in the overall grand scheme of things, Micah, when Cody comes back and Cody beats Roman, which that has to be the plan. And if that's not the plan, I will apologize. But it has more equity in beating Roman as the undefeated, hasn't been beaten 900 day or so, whatever it's going to be at WrestleMania. It'll have more equity in it when Cody does it than it would if Drew did it. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I see your point. It's just
Drew's been world
okay.
champion. Cody, this will be his
Hypothetically,
first world championship reign.
hypothetically, Cody's not ready to go by Royal Rumble. Cody gets hurt again coming back from WrestleMania. Then who do you have? Because there's nobody left on this roster.
Well, that's a
Can
lot of
you?
what ifs. That's a lot of what
I
ifs.
mean, yes, but I just felt like it was strike while the iron was hot. It was Drew's time. I get your point, but the future, that's a long way from now, and it's August. We got to get till March,
Well, hold up now.
and
We're having a long term storytelling. Are we not doing that anymore?
he's
We're
been
just gonna
long term storytelling for
no, no,
700 days.
no, Micah. It's not long term storytelling. When Drew McIntyre was wrestling Madcap Moss at WrestleMania, come on now. Let's be real. Let's be real here.
But we're
Cody Rhodes was built up when he got back to the company as the guy to dethrone Roman. Why venture away from that just because Drew is in uh, adjacent country on his part of the world? It doesn't make any sense creatively wise to have Drew win that title. It just didn't. And there's a new element to the Roman's reign now with Solo. Let's not act like he's just gonna be doing the same old stuff now. They have a new element with this new guy.
uh, I will just have to see how it plays out. I personally felt like they should have struck while the iron was hot. We'll see where they go. But I do want to say this to close this, and then we'll recap. as a whole, how we felt about Clash at the Castle. Can you imagine if at All Out, John Moxley had won, and then Lars came in the ring and started singing Margaritaville with CM Punk, and that was how they closed All Out? Like, do you realize the hatred that they would have gotten? Like, you would have never heard the end of that. That would have
Well,
been
hold up now. Let's pause that because nobody would have been talking about that because of what happened with the media scrum. So let's not act like that we would have crucified AEW. We wouldn't have been talking about it, just like we're not talking about MJF's return. So come on, let's be. We want to be
I'm
real
so
here.
sorry.
If we want to be
I'm
real here, let's be real. Come on.
I'm so sorry MJF's return got overshadowed by backstage politics. That's funny how the worm turns, isn't it? Because it's the same thing that happened to Wardlow when he wanted to pull his crap back in May.
Hey, that's
So
your guy.
you
That's your
get
guy.
you get what comes to you. You know what I mean? I don't feel bad for him, but regardless, the end was horrible, and I see your point for the long term booking, but in my opinion, Drew should have went over.
The sing
But
song sucked. We can agree on that though. The sing song at the
yes.
end, that sucked.
To close out Clash at the Castle, what would you give it as a review?
Are we doing 1 out of 10? Or are we doing letter grades?
Hmm. I don't know. It's kind of. I feel like it's kind of easier to do letter grades for pay per views.
Okay, I'm giving the
We'll do
show
letter
A
grades for
minus.
pay per views.
I'm giving it an A minus. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was an easy watch. I mean, I can see myself going back and watching at least 3 matches on this card, which is something I can't really say about a lot of modern wrestling. But I mean, the match itself, Roman and Drew, was a really, really good match. Uh,
Best Roman match in a long time.
Actually, I don't know. Roman had a good match with Brock at SummerSlam too.
Well, in ring, like that wasn't
Okay,
just
okay.
finisher spam.
That was a brawl that he had at SummerSlam. Um, but yeah, Rollins and Riddle, they had a really good match too. And Sheamus and Gunther, they had probably, like you said, match of the year. I don't know, man. I really like this show. I probably liked it more than SummerSlam, honestly.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with B plus. If Drew had won, solid
Mm.
A in my opinion. But that mixed with the Tyson Fury sing song, Margaritaville, whatever you want to call it, really just it left a bad taste in my mouth for a really good show up to that point. Um, Gunther and Sheamus, match of the year candidate, like you said. Seth and Rollins didn't really. Seth and Rollins, Seth and Riddle didn't disappoint, but and the main event was good up to that point. So I mean, B plus. I like you said, I could see myself going back and watching this. I would be down for them to make this a mainstay because that UK
Oh
crowd is
yeah.
always great.
Man, do more UK pay-per-views because that 12 p.m. start time, I'm really liking that. I'm glad I didn't have to stay up
I
till
know,
4 in the morning to finish the show.
and I'm sure they like it too because normally they've got to be up till like 6 to finish
Yeah,
any other pay per view.
yeah.
So overall, solid showing on Saturday. So next up, we had AEW's All Out in Chicago, Illinois. And we started a little surprisingly because the past, I believe, two pay per views have started with Jericho, have they not?
Yeah. Usually Judas does open the night on the pay-per-view.
Well, I was kind of shocked he didn't open, but we opened up with the casino ladder match. I'm not gonna lie, I had some streaming issues here, so I didn't catch all of this. Um, but I did catch the ending, which is the main talking point out of this, obviously. So when I did come in, Roosh and Andrade were like standing in the ring, just looking at each
Nah,
other.
man. Hold up. Did you see when Rouge took 30 minutes to get to the ring? While I think who was that was in the ring trying to win? I think it was was it Yuta that was just standing there in the ring, like waiting on Roosh, and he was taking his sweet time, taking off his gear, making sure making sure his mask is right, and then he was just walking down the ramp, like no sense of urgency at all. And Taz had to say something, like it was that noticeable.
See, I didn't catch that, but that was something that I noticed that I don't personally like about the casino ladder match. Like the face of the Revolution, everybody was in the ring. The casino ladder match, to me, you shouldn't be able to win it until everybody's out. I get that it adds an element of, I don't know, different,
No,
but
no, it makes just as much sense as the reverse ladder match that TNA used to do. Remember
oh
that?
god, no, it's
Yeah,
better
what was
than
that
that.
King of the Mountain match where you had to hang the belt up on the ladder, on the little hook thing, like a
I,
reverse ladder match? It made just as much sense as that.
it's better. It makes a little more sense than that. Come on now, Tony's no Russo.
Well, Russo probably been a better booker, yeah.
Well, after Rush and Andrade stared at each other like they didn't know what kind of match they were in, um, Penta came in and hit a nice Canadian destroyer on the rampway onto Dante Martin. He came in the ring, started fighting with Andrade. Then he hit another Canadian destroyer on the ladder as Penta dove off the top rope onto Roosh, who was on the outside on a table, which was
Mm,
really cool. I thought it was an interesting dynamic that there was a few teams in here. But
looks
and I
scary.
thought maybe that's what.
I'm not taking that if I'm a wrestler.
No, 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 no. You remember when Ricky got power bombed at Revolution? We were worried.
Just came back from neck surgery.
Yeah. So I mean, couldn't be me.
Mm.
But I thought maybe that's why Andrade and Roosh were kind of doing that in the ring, because they're tag team partners. So it was like but they didn't give off that feeling. So I don't know. It was kind of odd.
What
But
happened? What happened to Dragon Lee? You remember they unmasked him that one night
yeah, when like the
from
last
again?
25 seconds of the show,
Yeah, what happened?
I couldn't even tell you.
All right, okay.
I guess they just hope that nobody saw it and then they'll never talk about it again. It'll probably get buried on Ring of Honor or something.
What TV Ring of Honor hearing?
YouTube,
Okay.
Destination America. But anyways, the main talking point at the end of the match, a bunch of guys in black suits, black masks come out and just start beating everybody down as one of them climbs up to the top of the ladder and grabs the chip. I thought it was Dexter Loomis, but yeah,
Come
I
on
was
now.
wrong. But he pulls the mask off, and it turns out to be Stokely Hathaway. And then you see that all the other guys in black suits were the goons that he's been hiring. W.
You remember
Morrissey.
you remember that storyline from like WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2009 where Chris Jericho kept on getting attacked by like masked people? Did it kind of remind you of that?
I honestly forgot about that. I remember what you're talking about now, but in the moment, I
it,
didn't even think of that.
it kind of reminded me of that, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, you're good. Anyways, they then Stokely climbs down the ladder, and I think they got the ladder out of the ring, and all of a sudden, "Sympathy for the Devil" by the Rolling Stones starts playing, and the crowd is like completely silent because they have no idea who this is. And a man in a black suit and a white mask with horns and some kind of like design on it walks down, grabs the chip. He teases, showing his face, and then he's like, nah. And then they walk out. So at this point in the show, you have no idea who just won the match, but you just know that they're associated with Stokely. Obviously, Twitter was going rampant, and now that I assume most, if not all of you, have watched All Out or heard the news, this was MJF. So,
It's kind
what
of
did you
obvious.
think? Well, yeah, I thought it was a interesting way to bring him back. It maybe not is not the way that I would have done it, but I thought it was cool.
Man, the crowd, they were doing their best to kill the crowd all night long. And this was the start of it right here. The match was what it was, a lot of flip fly stuff. Nothing really stood out. I mean,
Oh, well,
come
wait
on.
till what we have next.
But yeah, the crowd, they kind of killed him off early, and I didn't really recognize the song. I never heard the song. Have you the Rolling Stone song?
Personally,
Yeah, I
did
never heard
not.
it. Yeah, I didn't
No.
know.
I mean, I like rock music. I like '90s and some
Yeah,
'80s, but
yeah, me too.
not.
I agree.
No, I don't know about that one. um, now that I think it's one of those things. In hindsight, it was cool. In the moment, I remember I was like, "What?" Like it was a very odd
But
ending to the match, and I don't think it should have went on first if it was going to have that ending to it.
why did Tony Khan just let that happen though? Like
Well,
brought MJF back, and he just lets him ruin the number one contenders ladder match like that.
I in my mind, which I mean, I guess I see your point. In my mind, he didn't know how MJF was going to do it. He was just like, "Man, show up and I'll give you this spot. I'll make you the Joker." Kind of like I don't know if he's going to show up or not. So then obviously he ends up showing up because it's wrestling and it's all smoke and mirrors. But I
Yeah,
mean, it's technically no rules. There's no rules in the match that says you can't have a bunch of people interfere in your favor.
yeah, but just kind of nonsensical. But like you said, not something I would have booked, but I get where they were going. So
Yeah. And I just don't think it should have went on first, me personally.
mm, I would have liked Claudio winning this, but MJF
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm cool with MJF winning it before I knew who the Joker was going to be. Then yeah, I would have said Claudio because the rest of the guys don't seem like world title contenders in my eyes. But nonetheless, speaking of people that should be nowhere near a world title, um,
Oh my.
uh, next up, Hangman Adam Page and the Dark Order versus
Oh
the
my
Young
God.
Bucks and Kenny Omega for the trios
Mm,
world titles.
mm,
Now, I'm not gonna lie,
okay.
I didn't see all of this because again, I didn't. My stream did not balance until the Jay Lethal Motor City Machine Guns match. So I was having some issues here, but I did catch some things, and I
Oh,
the trios world title, Dark Order with Hangman Adam Page versus the Elite. The Dark Order started working on Kenny's shoulder early, and Hangman was kind of torn about what they were doing to Kenny, and then there was some kind of dissension between them, I noticed, and then they beat the piss out of Hangman when he came in, and it was like oh well, you did this to me or whatever. Um, the only other thing I really noted, because I mean, dude, it's just a typical Young Bucks match. I mean, no, I don't, eh.
yeah. They
John
follow a
Silver,
same layout of Young Bucks matches.
yeah, and this one to me was not any better than the one with Aussie Open or
No, they just kind of blended in. This was
yeah,
a good match, though. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. It's just, I mean, it's what you expect with a Young Bucks match. They did the same stuff they always do,
yeah.
and
Well,
it just, I mean, a lot of stuff that they know sold and super kicks everywhere. I mean, Young Bucks match.
some people like it.
Some
Us
people
over
do
here
like
at the
it.
Scoop Slam podcast,
We are
not
not
huge
fans of that.
fans.
No, sir.
John Silver, though, I don't know if you
Oof.
picked up on it. He looked lost, like a deer in headlights. If you, eh, whoever is listening to this, I encourage you to do it too, Ryan. If you didn't notice it, in the four-way spot where they super kicked, did you see
I
Matt
saw
pull
that. Yeah,
him and they
I saw it.
swapped spots?
I did see that. Yeah, I thought it was weird, but
And there was a
now that
few
you,
times where it was like he was like a deer in headlights in terms of like they would have to move him around to do certain things.
he wasn't ready for this
So,
spot.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Is anybody in
Like,
the Dark Order?
I guess Paige. I don't know. Is he part of the Dark Order?
I guess he's fighting with him. Is Paige ready for this spot?
He was the world champ. I would hope.
Mm, he
He's
was.
one. He was the world champ. Let's not just forget that happened. He's one of the
I mean, he
guys they
was.
started the company with. He's one of the pillars, Micah.
Oh, really? A pillar?
Yeah, yeah, he was a pillar. You were
Mm.
all in on. You were all in on Paige when he fought
No.
Omega. Last year at the pay-per-view, you were all in on Paige. And I was the one saying, man, he can't even show up to work. He took time off because he had a kid. But you were defending this man. You were
Look,
ride or die with him.
I'm cool. I was cool with him beating Kenny. Not gonna lie, I was at the time. And then he had the feud with Danielson, and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, he had to
And
feud
then
with
what?
Archer first, right? Didn't he?
No, that was after.
Oh, okay.
And then
Yeah.
what?
His reign was. But that you can't blame that on Paige, can you?
I mean,
Booker of the year, right?
somewhat. I mean, what fire Adam Page? Well, I was gonna say what Adam Page promo do you remember? But I think we all know the promo. We
Oh
all
well,
remember.
I got one in mind.
But in all seriousness, I don't know, man. I tweeted something today. I've been active on my personal page, staunch
Oh,
defender over here of Phil Brooks,
oh
but
man, you the only one on that
we
hill.
we go we gonna get to that a little later.
Man.
I tweeted out earlier that his reign was just very lackluster. Like, sure he had great matches, but what else? Like, what great feud did he have? The ever long one with Adam Cole?
He's not booking it though, Micah. You have to put the blame on Tony Khan. He is the booker.
I,
Book
I would
book compelling television.
I would say it's a 65-35 split
Well, who's the
because
65?
Tony is majority at fault, but also I feel like Page didn't necessarily get himself over because it was like a Dusty type thing. It was like the chase was better than the reign, and that's typically how it goes with face champions. And I just
Yeah.
didn't feel like Page was ready to be a champion yet, and that's all. I
But
I mean,
he wasn't ready. They built him up for 2 years before that point. He was in the first World Championship match with Jericho.
I mean that's true, but I mean, can he cut a promo?
He cut one on Mr. Phil Brooks.
Can he cut a decent back? I don't know, man. The Cole and him stuff was atrocious.
That did
Uh,
sour him to a lot of the fans.
yeah, because I remember me and you being at Revolution, and I was like, oh man, Punk and MJF, and then after that,
Bro, I was ready to go home. I was ready to go home, man.
I was fighting sleep in that main event.
It was like 11:30, eh?
Oh, everybody was just chanting for Adam.
Crowd was entertaining themselves. Nobody cared about who's in the ring. But that's
That's
what
all.
happens when you have a 6-hour pay-per-view too.
Nah, that's what
But
happens when you have a world champion you don't care about.
well, he shouldn't be wearing butterflies on his pants.
Ah,
Tony Khan gotta tell him to take that off if he sees him at the gorilla with that on.
you took the words right out of my brain. Anyways, the Elite picked up the win here. Obviously, you
Of
knew it was
course.
coming.
Bet the house on that. Everybody knew
Yeah,
that was coming.
they literally built these trios titles around them and waited to bring them out till Kenny got back because they're scared to fight FTR. But that's besides the point. So they picked up the win here. Solid
But no,
match.
but how crazy is that the Adam Cole's faction, the Undisputed, wherever they call it in the AEW, what are they called?
I think it was Undisputed Elite, but until the
Okay,
Bucks got kicked out.
whatever they were called, they turned on the Bucks, and then Bobby Fish gets released, and then Kyle O'Reilly goes into neck surgery, and Adam Cole is still hurt.
What is even wrong with him at this point? I know what's wrong with Kyle, but what's wrong with Adam Cole?
I don't know, man. He needs to work out.
I mean, you said it, not me. Anyways, we'll move on. Speaking of looking lost in the ring, like John Silver,
Oh my!
Oh
Oh
God!
God.
For the TBS championship, Athena versus Jade Cargill, and Jade did what she does best. She had that cool presentation, came out in a She-Hulk inspired fit, and that's probably the only good thing I can say about this match.
You watched this match?
For the most part.
You remember what I sent you, man? Like mid
Oh,
match,
I
I had
do.
to send you that. So Jay and Athena, throughout the match, Athena kept on telling Jay to kick out of multiple pins. Like I've never seen that. I remember John Cena used to talk a lot in his matches, and they pick it up on the microphone. But I've never seen a wrestler have to remind another wrestler to kick out of a pin. Have you? You ever seen that?
No, and I don't really understand the point. Like, wouldn't you know what the finish is? And I mean, okay, like Jade ends up winning, and besides this, there's really not much else to say.
No, it's quick.
Um, so wouldn't you know to kick out because you're going over?
You would think.
You know what I mean? Like what? 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 Why would you have to be reminded? Any pin that I'm fixing to take, I know I've got to kick out of.
Were they calling it on the fly?
Oh God,
Can
I
you
don't
imagine
know.
that?
I don't know if that would give Jade a crutch or make her like. I don't know if that would help why she is the way she is in the ring or hurt the way she is in the ring, like
Does
in
she
the
have
public's
amnesia?
perception.
Does she have amnesia when she's wrestling? That she has to be reminded when the finish is about to happen?
I don't know, man. It was weird, but I didn't catch it when I was watching it. But when you sent the video to me, you could hear it plain as day.
Yeah, I was hearing
So,
it. I was hearing it because I had headphones in, but it was very distracting. And the match was a sprint. I don't know if the Bucks went long on the last match, but this was 5 minutes. Kind of jabroned Athena.
well, there was a few matches. The Ricky and Hobbs one was quick.
Oh, that was
Uh,
criminal. That was criminal.
the Christian Cage Jungle Boy one was quick, which ended up making sense. Um,
I was fine with
yeah, I mean, and I'm honestly fine with this one being short, and I was fine with Powerhouse and
that.
Ricky being short to a
I,
point.
yeah,
But I mean, you get people complaining about the length of the pay-per-view. They got 10 matches here and got it in and out in 4 hours.
I think
So,
I think people complain about the lack of women's TV time and lack of women's bell time, and this does not help in those arguments at all. Especially when the champ has to be reminded to kick out.
I was about to say, let's not just gloss over the fact that maybe Jade can't go longer than 10 minutes. I
Why is
mean,
she not working indies, Micah? What is she doing throughout the week?
she's probably signed on an exclusive contract.
Moxley ain't.
Mm-mm. There's certain guys I don't think Punk can make appearances anywhere else.
I don't think that Tony Khan would decline Jade going to wrestle at other places.
I could see it, but I also see your point that like the experience definitely wouldn't hurt her.
Yes,
Or
how's she
like
gonna get better?
I don't know. If she went down to like NWA, I'm not saying that that is like the greatest crop of women's talent either, but I'm saying that's a small niche group of people that are going to see her. They have a Mickey James she could work with. I think her and Camille could probably have a good match, in all honesty.
And it's not about having great matches. She doesn't have to have 30-minute matches on the indies. You just need those reps though. You need those
Yeah.
reps.
And I genuinely want Jade to be good because she has that presentation. And dude, she could be a star for AEW because she draws all the attention when she's in any kind of room. It's just when you see her wrestle, you're like,
And when
hmm.
you see her open her mouth too. Because her promos are terrible.
They're not as bad as the in ring though.
She has Tourette syndrome. She cusses at Tony Schiavone every time she gets the mic. Man, and then she sounds so fake, like she's having a spoken word seminar. Jade, she doesn't have it on the mic either.
I mean, I see your point. I don't think her mic work is that bad. I also wonder, like, they didn't even mention that her and Stokely aren't together anymore. He just, like,
I think that's
dipped.
dropped. I think it's dropped.
Why? Like, I mean, I get why. But in
They
all
did bring it
honesty,
up, didn't they?
yeah, I believe Excalibur or Tony, one of them was like, Stokely's not out here with her. But, like, MJF don't need a mic guy. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just
He
feel
really
like,
don't need. He really don't need those other guys around him either.
no. But I think they did it because they, in all honesty, he doesn't have to have them, but I think it helps. He has lackeys, and so that's a good way to get out of a situation, or that helps with storytelling and stuff like that.
You think another faction is going to help? Like, they don't do factions very well in this company.
No, look at the Pinnacle.
The man, I was just about to say the Pinnacle. What has Wardlow done since he's left MJF?
He won the
He
TNT
beat
title.
he beat up some security guards. He won the TNT title. He
Went
got
30 minutes with Orange
entrance now.
Cassidy.
He went 30 minutes with the mascot. I mean, come on.
Well, anyways, we'll move on.
Speaking of the Pinnacle,
I'm about to say, speaking of the Pinnacle and Wardlow, um, we had Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns versus FTR and Wardlow next up. When man, they need a name group. Like, it's Jay Lethal, Sanjay, and
Satnam.
Satnam. I can't even come up with like a funny name like Kai and Sky.
No,
Come on, man.
Satnam. Satnam just kind of he stands out, but like not in a good way. I don't know. They don't treat him like a giant.
I think it could work. They just, I think they rushed him to TV.
They don't treat him like a giant, Micah. You remember how they treated Kali toward the end?
Yeah.
They treat Satnam even worse.
Oh, no, he's not out there kissing people.
He's out there getting beat up by guys
I
that are
would,
5'9" in FTR.
I wouldn't say it's worse. Yeah, but FTR are like stars in
They're
this
five foot
company.
nine. He's 7'3". There's a visual difference there.
Well, anyways, Sanjay came out and he took his jacket off and showed a shirt that instead of fight like an 8-year-old girl, it said fight like an 8-year-old brat, which I kind of thought was funny. But this was some good tag team wrestling, classic stuff. I mean, Motor City Machine Guns have always been good. You know how we feel about FTR. And then I don't know if you noticed it, but Remsburg was like actually enforcing the rules, like
Wow.
making the guys stay out of the ring and counting them out and stuff like that. I was like, okay, can we not do this all the time? Or, FDR just go, hey, the Young Bucks are on the card, so we got to really show people what wrestling is. I don't
I'm
know.
sure that was a conversation.
Hmm. Yeah, it might have been a little foreshadowing. But all in all, some solid work. They were cutting off the ring, tandem moves, which I thought was really cool for Jay and the Motor City Machine Guns, considering they haven't wrestled together in God knows how long. I will say this, towards the end, it kind of dissolved a little bit because Saban and Shelly and I think maybe even Jay were just like standing in the ring forever, and Bryce was trying to cover, like tell him to get out, tell him to get out, tell him to get out, and they just would not leave.
Yeah.
And it kind of buried Bryce. I feel like that's what some of the people don't realize. Like, I feel like he was really trying to be that enforcer and take control, and they were just crapping all over him, and then it makes him look bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Jay hit a lethal injection on both members of FTR. As he got up, he went for Wardlow, but he came back with a headbutt. Wardlow then landed the powerbomb symphony. They get hit it 4 or 5 times. 1, 2, 3. As Jay's faction began to surround FTR and Wardlow, Samoa Joe's music hit, and he runs down, cleaning house, throws Sanjay in the ring as Dax's daughter runs down. She snapped his pencil. Dax clocked him in the back of the head with a forearm, and then she pinned him 1, 2, 3.
Jesus.
I thought it was an okay match, and the after thing didn't bother me. It would have been one thing
Oh,
if
it
she
didn't
like,
bother you, but when Tyson Fury has a sing song with Drew McIntyre, that bothered you.
well,
We can have
one,
kids. We can have kids just beat up professional athletes on the show. We still run the Make a Wish, Micah.
she didn't beat him up. That's
Just beat them
that's
up.
what I was just about to say. If she had hit him, it would have been one thing. But Dax did all the work and she pinned him. And that's fine because
So you,
Sanjay's a flunky and it wasn't like an actual match or anything. It was just a heartwarming moment. And it
no,
wasn't like FTR lost and then they were like, "Hey, my daughter's gonna come down and beat all these guys up, even though we just lost." Like, it wasn't like that to me.
don't show it on the TV though. Get it. Make that a dark segment. You don't do that on TV, especially when you bury the giant like that. What did he do to stop that?
He was scared of
He's
Samoa Joe.
7'3". He's 7'3", Micah. Why are we not treating him like a giant? You remember when Big Show would like beat up 5 and 6 guys at a time? Why can't he? He's 7'3", isn't he?
I mean, yes, but look at who he's across the ring from. Like, Big Show wouldn't have ran in there and beat up The Rock, Stone Cold, and Triple H all at the
Whoa!
same time.
Why
I'm not
not?
saying
He has.
all at the same time.
He has. I remember one time he came back on SmackDown. He like demolished the whole SmackDown roster. He's done stuff like that.
Okay, but also Big Show is probably the greatest giant in history, and
Satnam Singh
Satnam
is getting
Singh is
treated like a
green.
jabroni. Yeah, well, I mean
No,
Satnam
he's
Singh getting.
green.
Well, why put him on TV if he's green?
I'm not saying they should, but he is. He's there.
Get him out of here if they're gonna do that with him. You can't unsee that. You can't come back from that. Once you once you have him sell like that, you can't put legitimacy back on him. People already seen him sell.
I mean, I see your point, and I agree that they shouldn't have brought him to TV until he was ready, but it doesn't like I don't know. I don't know. It just don't bother me because in my mind he's a flunky for Jay, which I know it shouldn't be like that, but that's how it is.
Who took that pin to?
I did notice
Who
that it
took
was
who took
Jay.
that? Who took L? Jay Lethal.
I was like,
I'm done.
man,
I'm done, man. I can't. I'm not. I can't take him serious anymore. He's an undercard guy. We just got to accept it.
why would you not pin Shelly
Yes, the
or
Impact guys,
Saban?
the guys that are under contract with Impact. Why not pin them?
I guess so Wardlow can get his, you know, I guess satisfaction, his payback or whatever, but like you said, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Yep.
Well, speaking of getting rubbed the wrong way,
Oh God.
Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks was next up.
Mm.
Man, Ricky did his best AJ impression with that fit.
Yeah, I wasn't digging that. I didn't like that.
He looked like a NASCAR driver. I don't know, man.
The gloves kind of made it look a little hokey. I don't know. It just
That
didn't
was
fit
the
him.
thing. I like the tights. That don't bother me. It's just the gloves, man. But
Yeah, the gloves.
I got love for Ricky, so I give it a pass. But overall, a short match. Starks got a big pop when he came out. Both of these guys look great. The match started fast. Ricky didn't do his little turnbuckle taunt or anything. Hobbs dominated pretty much the whole time, and then they started going back and forth, bouncing off the ropes opposite of each other. Like Ricky was fixing to go for a spear. Hobbs caught him in a spine buster. 1, 2, 3. Like it came and went.
Crowd had no reaction to this either. Like when
Mm-mm.
Hobbs won, no reaction. Like the crowd was deflated. And
I don't
that's
know.
the story of the night.
And the thing is, they weren't even really up for the FTR thing. Like FTR got a big pop when they came out, but for the
Well,
match,
Micah, I mean, it's not treated like a serious thing on TV. Why should we treat it like a serious thing in the arena?
I mean, you got a point. I agree. I just I don't know, man. The crowd was weird like the whole show. Like
Well,
they'll get up for the next match we're talking about, and they got up for
oh
the
yeah,
main event, but it's like some of the matches you thought they would be up for. Jericho versus Danielson. They were sitting on their hands the whole time.
I think they're tired of Jericho.
Well, my man's got Tony Khan's naked pictures on a terabyte file.
No, that's
He don't
Daniel
he
Garcia.
don't no, but he don't ever lose. Jericho don't ever. We're getting too far off. Anyways, I'm sure that they're setting up for something bigger, but I was kind of shocked. That's the trend of tonight was they're setting up for something bigger, and I was like, man, to me personally, your WrestleMania, your Survivor Series, your SummerSlam, and your Royal Rumble, maybe except for Royal Rumble because the obviously the Royal Rumble match. The rest of them to me are big. That's your big four. AEW has a big four pay-per-view slot. These pay-per-views need to be all end all matches. It needs to be the final thing. Unless you have two stars like a MJF and Punk that could probably carry something to go through two pay-per-views. But for the majority, these matches need to be done with. And that's why you don't build them 2 weeks before the pay-per-view. You build it 6, 8, 10 weeks out. It all climaxes at one pay per view, and then you have another 3 months to build something else. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's a new thing in AEW. They really don't build up any storylines hardly until like 2 weeks out, which is what a big majority of the IWC hated about WWE for a long time. That they would just announce these matches a week out, and nobody really cared about them when they actually happened on the pay per view. Like, why should I care about FTR and Wardlow against Motor City Machine Guns and Jay Lethal if it was built up in 3 weeks? Or why should I care about Swerve in Our Glory versus the Acclaim if it was built up literally a week in advance? I mean, come on, man. You can't expect to build a enticing, memorable pay per view if you're building up rivalries and matches within 2 weeks of it happening. Just, I mean, it's going to turn into a forgetful pay per view, just like this was. Majority of this pay per view was forgetful.
Yeah. And other than it setting stuff up, was kind of just bleh. Like I
Yeah,
don't. That's all I can really say.
a
You
lot of
know,
filler. There's a lot of filler.
we should have had what should we should have had on this pay per view was Hook versus Ricky Starks for the FTW title. Then Hobbs turns. And now you have until November, whatever, when they're going to do Full Gear to build to that match. And maybe you have a first match at Grand Slam and Hobbs squashes him. And then they have the second one and Ricky comes back more healthy. Maybe you have FTR and the Bucks. That's what they should have done. I don't
Oh
care
no.
about your trios titles. That's your money card match. Maybe Wardlow and Jay should have been feuding a little bit longer. I know they've been doing some stuff for Battle of the Belts, but other than that, it's been tucked away on Rampage. So I don't know, man. Just my biggest issue right now with AEW is oh God, yeah, we do have a pay per view in 2 weeks. Here's everything all at once. Come on now. Long-term storytelling. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, Adam Page looked across his left shoulder in 2015 on some New Japan show, and if you notice, he turned on his right shoulder at All Out. Get that crap out of here. I don't watch Being the Elite.
But
Man, I'm talking about on TV storylines.
exactly. And Tony Khan was mad at the internet wrestling community when we were saying the build for All Out is terrible. And he was telling us to be patient. There's still 7 weeks to go. We're going to build up feuds. But we didn't. We didn't build up anything. What did we build up? We literally had a world title build that happened in 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
What?
Starks and Hobbs wasn't even on the show Wednesday night.
Are you surprised?
No, well, I mean, they were on a show, but I'll let you guess what that
Oh,
was.
well, you know why.
It's a catchphrase right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Anyways, I'm sure we'll see something later down the line, and it makes sense for Hobbs to go over on the first one because I feel like Ricky can dig himself out of a hole better than Hobbs could at this moment.
Yeah.
But I guess I was just expecting a little more. Well, we'll move on to, well, hold on, let me put on my best. Well, we move to the World Tag Title match with Keith Lee and Swerve. Nah, I'm just playing. I like Keith. Versus
You
the
alone.
Acclaimed.
You alone on that one.
Oh man, I like Keith. I'm just messing. But the crowd was super hot for this match. Couldn't have cared for anything before now.
Billy Gunn
um,
was over.
I know. Well, let me tell you this. Do you know what Billy did that nobody else did the entire first like beginning of the night? He milked the crowd. He like turned to him and was like, "Come on, get up, whatever." Nobody else did that.
Well, that's more of the. I don't want to say it's. We should blame it on the new school of wrestling, but the old school they could milk a crowd like that was their job in the territories. They could do it like each and every night in the same town. They could get a reaction, just like the little stuff. I don't know, man. It's something about the old school mentality in Billy. I'm sure he's mastered it over the years.
Yeah, but man, how hard is it to just turn to a crowd and be like, "Come on!" And then that usually gets everybody going. You know what I mean? That's all
Yeah,
Billy did.
yeah. They were rowdy, man. Especially when
I
he
know.
scissored somebody in the crowd.
I know. The Acclaim was CM Punk. I think they were more for the Acclaimed than
Oh
CM
man,
Punk.
oh man. See,
So,
I come for you for that.
mm, nah, oh, he'll read my Twitter. I'm out there fighting his battles. All in all, some solid back and forth wrestling started this one off. You know, they turned the bask in our glory, or oh, bask in your glory. The little chant they do
Oh
for
yeah,
Keith. It
yeah,
was, oh, scissor me, daddy. And so they were going nuts. Like, that was pretty much going the majority of the match.
yeah.
Bowens came in, and the crowd popped off the hot tag like crazy. He got some good offense in. He went to the top and jumped off. Swerve dodged, and he seemed to tweak his knee a little bit. And then Swerve took control of the match. He threw him to the outside as Billy tried helping him up. Swerve came flying out, kicking Bowens like kind of into Billy, and then Billy um stood out in front of Swerve, and Swerve just gave him a crotch chop, which I thought was kind of funny. Um, I will say this: when they were saying all this crap about Shaq and Kobe of Keith Lee and Swerve, I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, but I do kind of like the dynamic that Swerve is a little bit more. I guess he's got like an edge to him, whereas Keith is more play by the rules. But they definitely leaned into the heel nature of the match here because even though both of these teams are technically babyface, they were booing the piss out of Swerve in Our Glory.
Did you see Caster's rap at the beginning?
I did, but I didn't write it down.
Mm, I'm sorry. I thought we should address it, but I didn't write it down either. I was hoping you did.
My fault. I seen a TikTok about it earlier, which reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't write that down, but uh, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Go and search it out, ladies and gentlemen, and then come back here. Nah, I'm just playing. But all in all, Swerve and Lee were on the offense from here on out. The crowd got behind Max huge, and he finally got in the ring, and they went ballistic. Max cleared the house. He couldn't quite get Keith over the top rope, which I kind of chuckled at. But he ran back at Keith to try and clothesline him, and then Keith did that shoulder tackle thing that he does to blow whoever, 15 feet away. And
The
then
pounce.
is that what it's called? My bad.
Yeah, the pounce.
I I'm still learning a lot of these guys' uh names, especially WWE. AEW I've got it down a little bit better, but man, them WWE names. Like we were having a fit earlier about Riddle's finish. I
Oh, the
didn't even
bro
know.
Derek.
I had no idea. Um, Lee went to the top rope to take Bowens out, and then Max Caster met him up there trying to fight him off. Bowens came up to the top as well, and they hit a superplex on Keith, which I thought was really cool because a whole lot of man coming down.
He a
Pause.
big boy.
But but then Swerve landed the stomp on Bowens, and just when he thought it was over, Bowens still mustered some strength to kick out of it. He eventually regained his composure, and he held Swerve up on the outside with his. It was like his legs were draped on the apron, and he held his upper body up. Max jumped off the top rope, did the mic drop onto him, which I think is kind of the Swerve stomp. I think they both
Yeah,
use that style move. Uh,
yeah.
But on the inside, Lee started arguing with Billy Gunn. As he turned around, Max was in the ring and he picked him up for I, I don't know if he has a name for it, but it's the attitude adjustment. That's what I'll always know it as. Which was a
It was
really
a
cool
fireman's
visual.
carry. Yeah, it was a fireman's carry, but you know, it was he's strong, man. I didn't know he was that strong.
I didn't either, but hey man, it's John Cena. That's all he is. Stole his gimmick, stealing his moves. Nah, in all seriousness, he came off the top after the fireman's carry and landed a mic drop. And I honestly thought that he was going to pick up the win because it looked like all hope was lost. But Swerve came in and broke it up. And then Bowens was on the outs, or Bowens was on the inside after Max tagged him in with Swerve and Lee. He ducked Swerve's kick, and Swerve's kick then turned and hit Lee, knocking him out of the ring. Bowens went to hit Swerve with a rope hung reverse DDT, but it wasn't enough to finish him. And then Keith came back in. They fought for a little bit, picked him up on his shoulders. Swerve did the swerve stomp off of Keith's shoulders, and they retained. Swerve and Our Glorious, still the tag team champions. Boy, great match, but after this, the crowd was not happy with the result.
Terrible, terrible result. And I thought Lee and Swerve were just going to turn heel at the end, but I just shook hands and they went their separate ways.
Yeah, I would have liked for them to lean into it too, which I guess are kind of riding the line of face or heel.
Did you
But
did you see the post media scrum when they asked Tony Khan, did you think about changing the outcome mid match?
yeah, well, no. If you watched it a little like earlier than that, because I was trying to watch the whole thing, and Swerve was like, "Man, we got doubted from the minute we won it." Everybody was saying, "Oh, well, the Bucks should have held," or he didn't say their name specifically, but he was saying, so and so should have won it. So and so should have done this. It was like we've been doubted this whole time, and I feel like we've been proving ourselves in our matches, and we just proved it out there. Literally, the next question, and I kid you not, was, "Tony, did you think about calling an audible?" And Tony tried to shoot it down, and then he just asked it again.
Man, don't invite that guy back. Invite the Scoop Slam podcast.
Yeah, give us some media passes.
Oh man, let me have a word with Mr. Phil Brooks.
No. You're not you're not allowed to get the mic invite. You will get us invited one time and never allowed back.
Hey man, that'd be legendary though.
Oh man,
Somebody gotta hold this guy accountable.
we'll get to it. We're working our way up to that.
We're teasing it. We're teasing it.
Yeah. Well, uh, anyway, for the interim world championship for the women's
Oh
division.
God.
Sorry, I didn't phrase that correctly. For the interim world, I cannot say it. For the interim women's world championship, Hikaru Shida versus Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm.
And the next match, Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy.
You watch
Come
this?
on, man. No, I didn't watch that.
Tony won.
Okay.
Moving on.
Yep.
I didn't watch it.
I don't know. I guess it was a girls' match. The crowd had no reaction to Sheeta when she came out. How was she world champion for 300 days? How?
Who else they have?
They didn't have anybody else?
Britt wasn't there yet. Well, she was there. I'm just saying she wasn't like, the personality she was a little later. Who else
But
are
my
going to put
point
on?
is,
Brandy Rhodes?
better reaction. But my point is, Micah, you this lady was world champion for a whole year. and nobody even cares.
Well, I feel like it's one of two things. Two, me personally, as a new fan, um,
Uh-oh.
well, no, I'm just saying, I didn't start watching until like June or July of 21, and I don't really know a whole lot about Hikaru Shida, and I was never really told anything. She just randomly appears, and it's just another example of being foreign in an American country, and you can't speak English so well.
But hold up now. It's not just that though. It's the booking.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying there's a few factors that play into why Sheeta doesn't get reactions.
Yeah, yeah, but Tony Storm, I mean, she's ice cold. They brought her in, all the
Nah,
fanfare, and then after a week, I mean, she's just another person on the roster.
I would. She's not on Ruby Soho level yet.
Well, yeah, what about Soho? What
Hey
about
man.
her? They gave her licensed music.
Yeah, but did you see when? Well, she was on the pre-show. Did you see Sammy drop her on her neck?
No, I did hear about it, but I didn't see it.
It was disgusting. He had her in
Didn't
like
she get
a.
hurt? Did she break her nose or something?
Yeah, she did. He had her in like a. Really don't even know what to call it. Like a Walls of Jericho before you flip it, but she was kind of like hanging. I don't know. I'm
Oh,
probably somebody's gonna eat me alive online about not knowing the names of these moves. But anyways, um, and Ty came and kicked her. And so imagine you're doing like the Cesaro swing, but you're stationary basically. And
okay,
Ty
all
came and
right.
kicked her, and Sammy just threw her to the side, and she landed like straight on top of her neck. It was bad. I
Jesus.
implore anybody to go look at it because I didn't watch the pre-show, but I saw the clip and it was nasty. But I feel like Tony has more oomph than Soho
Does she?
does. I just
Let's
mean
be honest.
in
Let's be
in
honest, Mike.
popularity.
What is so special about her?
Uh, well, this is gonna sound wrong.
No, but go ahead. Because if you don't say it, I will. Go ahead.
The Liv Morgan appeal, but she's a better wrestler than
Exactly.
Liv. She's way better than Liv.
I don't know. I don't think she's that much better. I
She's one
really
of the
don't.
she's one of the better wrestlers, women's wrestlers on the roster.
Is that saying much?
She better than Britt in the ring to me.
Oh, well, okay. We can agree on that. Britt sucks. But she's at least more charismatic. Britt's more charismatic than
Yeah,
Tony Storm. Who is Tony Storm? Has she had any mic time? Has she cut a promo?
I don't know about in the ring in a pre-tape.
Backstage.
Yeah,
Oh, of course she's gotten interrupted backstage, I'm sure dozens of times on Rampage. But on the main show on Dynamite, has she had a live mic to explain her intentions of who is old Tony Storm? What makes her tick? No, we don't know anything about her except she's a thick girl from New Zealand. That's it. And that's the only reason she's champ right now. That's it.
and she's got a cool. She's got the DDP esque theme because it's just a Barracuda copy. Listen to it next time you hear it. It sounds just like Barracuda.
I didn't notice it until you just pointed it out, but yeah, it does sound like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's DDP. It's DDP's Nirvana theme song from like early or like '96 WCW, but
Hey, that DDP theme slaps, man.
it
Still
was
to this day.
gas. But
Hey,
it's still a copy. Anyways, I don't know. I didn't watch it because I knew Tony was gonna win because I'd already heard on the dirt sheet she was gonna beat Thunder. Anyways, I would put her in the upper echelon of women's wrestlers in AEW. Um, I would say the top four would be her, Thunder, Jamie Hayter, and Serena Deeb. In no order except Serena Deeb's at the top, in my opinion.
do
But
you do you
do any
think
of
that
them have any
she?
personality?
No,
Mm,
no, no. But do you think she's gonna get heat about what she said about the about Thunder Rosa in the media scrum afterwards? Did you hear that? What she said?
I did hear what she said. I believe she said, "Well, I guess when Thunder Rosa decides she doesn't want to be injured anymore, I will unify this," or something along those lines.
Like, how
Um,
crazy is that? She said that about the world champion.
and they've been friends on screen.
Apparently not off screen.
I don't know. I mean, maybe Tony's more popular backstage because apparently Thunder and Britt have issues, so maybe Tony's trying to placate, trying to politic.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Anyways, we'll move on. We had Christian Cage versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry up next. I gotta commend you. I'm gonna eat this crow. You were right about Luchasaurus. Not that I hate what they did, but you were right.
Wow.
You
Give me my
called it.
props. Okay. All right. I
You
didn't
called it.
expect that. I didn't expect that. But
Now we'll argue in a little bit when we get to the media scrum, but just
we
know
will.
in this moment, I give you your props. Anyways, Christian, when he came out, went up to Jungle Boy's mom and started jawing at her, and she slapped him. And then,
Uncalled for. Uncalled for.
what did he do to retaliate? Did he throw up the like "call me"?
Yeah, but no. What he did to retaliate is he got Luchasaurus to beat beat him up right in front of his mom.
Oh man,
That's his receipt for that.
I mean, he got him. He got him good. No, I really don't think that many people were expecting it. I was expecting it only because you had said something, but before then, I had no idea, which is it's still kind of weird that they did it like this, but
Well,
eh,
I mean, he never changed his theme back. He never changed his mask back, and he never put his hands on Christian. So I don't know. To me, it just felt like okay, something's about to go down with Luchasaurus. And then he still came out the heel tunnel.
yeah, he did at all out.
I think he kept on doing it. When Jungle Boy came back, he was still coming out the heel tunnel.
Are you sure? I thought they came out together.
I don't think they came out together.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, Jungle Boy made his entrance, and he starts to look beside him or
Whoa, whoa,
behind
whoa,
him.
whoa, 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 whoa! Jack
Okay,
Perry.
okay.
Jack
Oh, I'm
Jack
sorry.
Perry made his entrance.
Jack Perry, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, which I am in favor of. Um, he came out and looked behind him, expecting Luchasaurus to be back there, and he comes from the other tunnel and choke slams the piss out of him onto the steel that's like a little off of the stage. And when he
Good.
rolled over, you could see the like steel print. I kind of felt bad for him, but he laid it in.
I didn't. He
Yeah,
deserved
you're not a big Jungle Boy guy.
it. No, I hate Jack Perry and Jungle Boy. I hate them both.
Oh man, they're two different entities now. Like Tarzan. One's like Tarzan, and the other's just the actor that plays Tarzan. Anyways, Luchasaurus picked him up, carried him down to the ring, put him through a table, and then rolled him into the ring. And Aubrey asked Jungle Boy if he wanted to continue, and he was, kind of staggering, fighting to his feet. But he finally agreed to have the match because he wanted to get his hands on Christian so bad. Christian hit a spear, pinned him. 1, 2, no. Thought it would be over. Jungle Boy had enough to get out of that. Christian picked him up, hit the kill switch, and that was the final blow. Um, Christian picked up the win. Rumor is that Christian's hurt. That's why he was wearing that brace when he came out. But I was okay with it being like this. I mean, I kind of wish they had done this a few weeks ago or something, and then they had the blow off match now. But it is what it is.
It the crowd did not like they were deflated even more with this outcome. It was
Well,
all elite wrestling tonight, man. At all out, all the heels went over.
yeah. What face did win? FTR and Wardlow,
Yeah.
Punk.
Okay.
I think that was
Tony
it.
Storm, I guess.
Tony Storm,
Yeah.
Miro and Darby. and crew, Miro and the Stingers.
Stingers.
But I mean, all in all, it was okay. It just,
It just
again,
killed
it
the
didn't.
crowd.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like a pay-per-view match. It didn't feel like something that should be on a pay-per-view. It felt like a setup for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, felt like it should have been on Dynamite.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all there is to say about it. I think Edge had the better weekend. I know you're a big Christian guy, but
Yeah, I gotta
well,
admit that.
well, on the TV, Christian got the win, and he didn't get
Yeah.
nutshotted.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't hate the outcome at all.
Yeah, I was fine with Christian going over. It was just the way
Absolutely.
they did it.
Well, I mean, now you got Luchasaurus at the Tonko to Christian. You should be happy about that.
Yeah, world title run imminent. I wouldn't hate it.
I would be all in favor of it, especially when they strip Mr. Phil Brooks of his title.
Oh
Gotta have
yeah,
the tournament.
we're getting there. We're getting there. You're getting getting ahead of us. But yeah, I mean, all in all, solid stuff. We move on. Chris Jericho, Lionheart versus the American Dragon, Daniel Bryan. Oh, Bryan Danielson. My fault. My fault.
Well, he called himself that the other night.
He did. Hey man, old habits die hard. Anyways, Danielson caught Jericho early in the match with the stomps, but Jericho slid out, showing, he was pretty pissed, and he tried to slow things down to his pace. It was some good mat wrestling to start the match out. Danielson seemed like he was trying to show up Jericho, but Jericho did the vintage springboard kick to Danielson on the apron. He came over the top, flying into Danielson, but Danielson lifted a knee and caught Jericho in the ribs, which I thought it sounded really nice. Well, I guess nice for Danielson, not so nice for Jericho, but
Yeah.
it looked pretty solid. Um, they both went to the top rope a little later, fighting back and forth. Danielson tried for Hurricane Rana, but Jericho caught him, dropped down, and locked in the walls of Jericho, which I thought was cool. Kind of a classic Jericho spot. I hadn't seen it in a while. He flipped his way out of it, threw Jericho to the outside, and then he went for the tope suicida through the corner, like narrowly dodged the turnbuckle post. Um,
He got
I thought
caught
it was,
up when he did that.
yeah, it was his arm or his leg that hit.
Thought it was his leg.
It was a cool spot. It kind of reminded me when what's the guy on Raw we like so much? Ford,
Oh,
Montez Ford does
oh yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
dive
yeah.
over the post.
I always get scared when Brian does that though, with his history of concussions and stuff. I don't like when he does that suicide dive thing. Just seems unnecessary.
Yeah, I feel the same way about Punk doing his because I think he did end up getting hurt. Well, the rumor is that he's hurt, but
Are
even
you
in the
surprised?
match, oh, okay,
His ego
I'm gonna
hurt.
bite my tongue. Anyways, he was kind of holding his elbow after the fact that Punk did it, so I think he did hurt it, but he finished the match and didn't show much later. Maybe it's nothing serious. Maybe he just sprained it or something. Um, As they went back inside, Bryan went for the flying headbutt, but Jericho dodged it, went into the lion salt, or went for the lion salt, but Danielson put his knees up to counter it into a label lock. They were hitting the ropes back and forth after they both got to their feet, and Jericho went for a code breaker, but he, like, I don't know, something didn't correlate here because he like fell. Maybe Danielson didn't like catch him on the way down, so it looked kind of odd, but he got a 2 count out of it. He went for the lion tamer, and then Danielson crawled his way to the ropes. Danielson then started hitting the hammer and anvil elbows as he grabbed Jericho's arms and held them back, kind of in a, I guess like a chicken wing type thing. And Jericho got to his feet and they ran Aubrey into the corner as Jericho kicked his leg back, hit Danielson in his nether regions, and then he landed the Judas effect 1, 2, 3. I was not expecting Jericho to go over here. Boy, Danielson, I seen a picture. I don't agree with it, but there's at least a case to be made that said AEW or Bryan Danielson's running AEW, and it had a picture of Brett and WCW.
Oh no.
And I'm not saying that that's the case, but man,
Well, I mean,
he don't
if the shoe
win.
fits, he don't know.
Like he lost to Jericho, he lost to Garcia, he
Yep,
lost to Page.
he did.
Did
Lost
he
to
lose to
Omega, right?
Omega?
No, they tied. They tied.
But did they have another one?
I don't think so. I think well, maybe they did.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. But
Yeah, I
anyways, the
don't
dude don't win.
know.
Did
Oof.
he beat Moxley when they fought at Revolution, or was it like a draw?
I think Moxley won, didn't he?
I honestly don't remember. I
Moxley
remember the finish was kind of weird, and then Regal
been
came out.
pinned. Moxley ain't been pinned since I think Archer beat him. That was the only guy to beat Moxley.
Are you serious? It was Archer?
I'm dead serious. That the only guy to ever beat Moxley was Archer. Clean.
Oh my God.
Beat Moxley clean was Archer.
Well, anyways, um, I didn't know that. I thought Excalibur said the only time he had been pinned was Punk, like cleanly, or not Excalibur. Tony Khan said at the media scrum that Punk was the first guy to like cleanly pin him.
Said the first guy to do it in a couple years because I remember Archer was the only guy to beat Moxley.
Well, his record I know is only like 55 and 4 or 5 now, but
Some of those in
um,
tag matches though.
that's true. I believe it.
It's crazy though.
Um,
Danielson's
yeah,
been wasted.
Moxley beat Danielson by pinfall. Now that I look at it,
Dang,
jeez.
dang. We were there for that too, and we didn't remember it.
Well, it got overshadowed because Regal came out, but I remember the finish being weird because I remember me and you being like, "What the crap? What happened?"
Yeah, Regal just showed up out of nowhere. Uh, I don't know, man. The way they use Danielson, he needs to get away from the Combat Club.
Agreed. He was. I would love to see him and Punk in a program if they do keep the belt on Punk, um,
No,
because it would be great. And
make it a loser leaves town match.
man, anyways, what did you think of this match?
I gotta be honest, man. It was getting late. It was, I mean, it was solid. Just the crowd wasn't into it, and I was kind of half paying attention to it. Uh, uh, Jericho won, which I really wasn't surprised about. Jericho always wins. He doesn't. Jericho doesn't lose. You remember when we said there's no way Eddie Kingston is gonna lose this match to
Oh
Jericho,
God.
and then he got beat by Jericho, and there was no follow up either.
Mm-mm. Took it clean. Well, I don't know, man. We'll see where it goes. I thought the match was okay. Jericho, he got a little gassed here at the end. I don't know if you noticed it, but
Well, he's
I don't
50, man.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not his fault, but
Everybody can't be Ric Flair.
oh God.
He looked like current day Ric Flair out
No, Jericho wasn't
there.
that bad.
He was all right.
And I mean, it went 23 minutes. It was the longest match of the night, so I give him some props for that.
The crowd was not interested though.
Yeah. But I mean, again, that was the trending theme of the whole show. They got up for the acclaim match and then that was it. And then Punk.
I think they
And
were
then even
mad that
Punk
Jericho.
got overshadowed.
I'm sure that sent Punk into a deep. Never mind. But okay, so Jericho beat Bryan, and then the crowd was just they were kind of disappointed, man, because
Yeah.
all the heels went over tonight.
And then Garcia didn't even come out.
Well, he stood there backstage watching the TV sideways.
I don't know, man. Just When's the last time Jericho? Well, no, he lost at Revolution. I was about to say, when's the last time he lost on pay-per-view?
On pay per view.
Anyways,
Yeah, it
it was
was
Revolution. We'll move on. Speaking of just pointless feuds that never end. Nah, I'm just kidding. This one ain't been as bad because the House of Black was in an eternal blood feud with the Death Triangle. We had the House of Black versus Miro, Darby, and Sting next up. I was kind of shocked to see that Malachi and Miro started this one off. I would have expected for them to wait on that one just because, especially Malachi is the leader. Normally, the leader of a heel group don't start, but I digress. Miro was a little standoffish to accept Darby and Sting's help, but Darby ended up tagging himself in. He hung up Buddy, or he hung with Buddy, but once Brody got in, he just beat the piss out of him, as he should. I mean, he's like triple his size. Darby was trying to get to his corner, finally made it to Miro, but Bryce was turned around due to Julia Hart distracting him, and then he made Miro get out. Darby got back in, which I thought was kind of cool because, again, Bryce is trying to enforce the rules, just the other jabronis don't pay attention. Sting got in. This was the first time the crowd had been up since the Acclaim match. He cleaned Brody and Buddy out, and as he stared down Malachi, he stared him down, begging him to tag in because Buddy was technically the legal guy. He finally comes in. He got him in the Scorpion Deathlock, but Brody broke it up. Malachi then locked in a knee bar on Sting, to which Miro snatched him out of it by his ponytail. Sting's team then grabbed a hold of the momentum as he landed a Scorpion Death Drop. Darby landed a coffee drop on a coffee drop. I need some coffee. He landed a coffin drop on Brody, but Buddy broke it up. And then to close, Sting misted Malachi, and then Darby landed a roll up 1, 2, 3. We talked about it a little earlier before we started recording that you kind of couldn't tell that Sting. You could tell what was going on. You just didn't see the mist on there until a little later. But I mean, I think the biggest story about this match is after the fact. Malachi apparently blew a kiss and bowed to the crowd. Been rumblings that he is not going to be in AEW much longer or wants out. As of the date of recording, he's still on the roster page, so maybe he's just taking time off. Who knows? It was an okay match. I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot to it.
It should have just been Malachi versus Miro.
Yeah, I would have liked that
The
much
guys.
more.
Bad the other guys. It would have gave Miro some. It would have gave him the win on pay per view, and if Malachi really is done, I mean, Miro got to beat him on pay per view at least. But I don't know, just making it a 6 man out of nowhere, just kind of.
Yeah, they just have to get Sting on the show, and I get he has to be in a tag
It's
team
getting old.
match. Yeah,
He's getting old too. But do we have to have him on every pay per view?
I'm fine with him being on pay-per-views. That's not my issue. But like at some point, I made a tweet, and I'm not gonna lie, it was the most popular tweet of the entire night. Was, "Dang man, Sting's 11-0. He needs a world title run," and people just thought that was hilarious. But like, at what point do they really deserve a, a tag team title shot? Like, when have they ever? Sting's never lost.
Well, FTR's been number one contenders for 8 months. That doesn't mean anything.
Darby and Sting versus FTR for the number one contendership match.
Seth Rollins
Uh,
doesn't run in.
oh man, I don't know. It's just, it was here.
Yeah.
That's all
You
I can
think
really say about it.
you think Malachi he like wrote WWE in the sky like Bret Hart did? Wrote WCW in the sky when he left.
No, the Bucks might have though in a little bit, but we'll get to that.
Hey, what you think he shows up in WWE? Old Aleister Black?
Um, I could see it. We talked about it a little bit, just me and you. I mean, he was over in NXT, and his wife's there. Obviously, Triple H likes him. It would be a little odd to me because it seemed like he was in, even though the work I think has been atrocious, it seems like he's been enjoying it and he's got a whole group built around him.
Man, it gave him depression. He ain't been enjoying
Well, well,
it.
and two, I want to throw this out there because a TikTok video circulated of something he wrote saying he's been dealing with a major back injury that he thought about retiring over. So maybe he's just rehabbing that. I truly don't know. But we witnessed the downfall of Malachi Black with our own eyes in
Oh,
Orlando when Cody beat him, and that was it. From then on out, he was stuck in eternal blood feuds with the Death Triangle that meant nothing. I couldn't even tell you who won. Who came out of that
I
for the
think
better?
Didn't Death Triangle win the last match?
I don't know. There was one at Revolution. Couldn't tell you who won. There was one at Double or Nothing, and I was live in person for both of those. Couldn't tell you who won.
You know what? You're right. I don't remember who won at Revolution either. Is he the biggest flop like in AEW history? Like a big signing? It's either him or
Well,
Jay Lethal, right?
there's I mean, there's always Jeff Hardy, but I can't throw my
Oh
boy under the
well,
bus like that.
you just did.
Nah, I love Jeff. I can't do that to him. In terms of people that were here consistently, it's got to be between Malachi, Andrade, and who did you just say?
Jay Lethal.
Jay Lethal. But I would put Malachi and Andrade a tick above because Jay Lethal is a little less known to this audience, and
But
people.
they gave him all the pomp and circumstances when he debuted on pay per view.
I like that. I like what you just threw in there. Just know that I didn't. I didn't let that go unnoticed. But nah, I get what you're saying. I feel like Jay is lesser known, and also he has some issues within the IWC for
Oh
the
man,
allegations. Now, I'm not personally going to comment on them. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, but nothing ever came to fruition out of it.
got it.
Therefore, I wouldn't say that you can count it against him as a performer, but
Yeah,
technically I would say Alistair or Malachi, McAllister, and
McAllister.
and Andrade um are probably bigger flops than Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I would say Miro or maybe Keith Lee, but at least they had championship reigns.
Yeah.
I mean, Malachi and Andrade, what have they done? They haven't done anything. Everything they've done is either been rotten or forgotten about within a week. Like I was saying earlier, Andrade ripped the mask off poor old Dragon Lee, and then we just never talk about it again. Or like when he
Mm,
wanted to buy Darby Allin, you remember that from Sting,
yeah.
and there was never a payoff.
They had a coffin match, that was it.
I don't even remember it.
Or okay, do you remember he took over the Hardy family office?
Yeah, but
They never did anything.
he broke them up when his guys came in. Remember, he said that I'm bringing in the best wrestler, and then they showed Roosh, and then nobody knew who that was. It's in the segment, and
I
we
do remember
expected
that
Ric
because I
Flair.
thought it was
Ric
Ric
Flair,
Flair. Yeah.
yeah. It made no sense, man. I think Andrade leaves too. I mean, Charlotte's in WWE. I think he finds his way back, just like Malachi finds his way back.
I could see both. The only thing with Andrade would be that I think he signed by either AAA or CMLL as well. So maybe that would be a hindrance, but I don't know. I mean, you never know in the world of wrestling. I could easily see both of them going back. I feel like at this point in time where AEW is at, uh, if they did go back, it's not huge losses for them. I think at this point they're damaged goods and they'd be better off in
Dang.
WWE, me personally. I mean,
You're right.
I like
It's
both of them. I mean,
it's the booking.
yeah, I like Andrade. Me and Malachi got some different religious beliefs, but as a performer, he's a good wrestler. Uh, but I mean, what are they doing? They've squandered for months, and how are you going to build them back up now? Maybe
It's
Malachi's
just
got the right idea by going away.
um, him disappearing for 6 months and then popping back up in either AEW or WWE will do him some good because he's had a lot of rotten stuff on TV. But it just goes to show you that the grass ain't always greener. You can complain and send your passive aggressive tweets out to WWE all you want, but these guys on the other channel ain't doing big things. It just, I don't know, man. These guys, the flops. Would I like to see them back in WWE? Sure, why not? But at this point, who cares? Who cares about these guys?
It got, it just got too bloated, man. I hate to say it because Keith Lee, and we'll move on after this because we got the main event to get to, and there's a whole lot to unpack with that.
Oof.
My God.
Uh,
But this is my closing thoughts. Keith Lee and Swerve are the tag champions right now, and take Miro for you can lump him into this as well. When Keith Lee and Swerve lose those tag titles, what do they go? Where do they go from there? Because what are you gonna do with them? They're barely featured as champions. You think they're gonna be more featured? Not?
well, they'll get featured for 2 weeks and then we'll forget about them because they'll be on Rampage for the rest of the time, and then they'll pop back up on Dynamite 3 months later. Like, man, this it follows the same formula.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, this was here.
Yep.
Well, it's time for the main event.
Mm.
Well, the pre-main. This was the co-main. The real main event. The best show of the weekend was the media scrum. Anyways, for the AEW World Championship, challenger CM Punk versus champion John Moxley. We started off with some mind games. Punk put his bad foot forward. Moxley sat crisscross, gave him the middle finger. They started back and forth with the strikes, chops in the corner. Punk took control, landing two running knees in the corner and a GTS, which stunned Mox and was kind of reminiscent of what happened a few weeks ago. But he only got a 2 count out of it, obviously. Mox was rattled. You could see it all over his face. He went to the outside. Punk did that tope suicida I was mentioning earlier. Landed on his elbow a little weird. Uh, some rumblings are coming out that he may be injured either from that or the ensuing uh, main event.
The
But
brawl for all after the show.
yeah, that's what we can call it. Um, but then they started battling through the arena. Up in the stands, in the crowd, wherever, whenever, however. As they came back to the ringside area, Moxley slammed Punk into the turnbuckle post, and then Punk busted open. I was kind of shocked he was the only one that bled in this match, considering Moxley's tainted past. Also, I do want to apologize because I think on one of our shows I said at one point that the GCW show was also this weekend, and I don't know why I thought that, but no, I believe it's in October, him versus Nick Gage.
Oh
But
man, you just disappointed all the GCW fans out there.
uh, oh boy, I'm hurt.
Man, those Nick Gage fanboys are gonna come for you on Twitter.
Nah, they'd be more mad at you. I saw them looks you were giving them at the Ric Flair's last match. Anyways, Punk crawled his way back into the ring, and Moxley immediately started with, the targeting of the previously broken foot. Mox locked in a heel lock, but Punk raked his eyes to get out of it. Mox then locked in a figure four, but Punk built up some momentum. They started flipping each other off, slapping each other. Moxley let go and then hit a pile driver for a deep 2 count. Not enough to put Punk away, though. Kind of bothered me. I'm kind of surprised to see Punk. Well, I say that. He used it in his match with Cena, but it meant more then. I don't know, man. Just the pile driver.
It's bastardized in AEW.
Yeah.
Because everybody hits a Canadian Destroyer or Poison Rana or Pile Driver in every other match.
I know, man. The Poison Rana is one of the most devastating moves to me. Like, if you just look at it. Yet, I'm telling you, I see one at least every month, and it never gets anybody.
Bro, when I first saw it, my jaw literally hit the floor. I've never seen like a move like that. It looked devastating. And then now everybody does it, everybody kicks out of it, and nobody finishes matches with it. It's probably how the old school fans saw the DDT when everybody started using that.
Yeah, poor Jake Roberts.
Yeah.
Well, and I digress.
Jake don't need your sympathy.
Oh man, Punk regained control. He got Mox to the ground, and started doing the the elbows, and then he locked in the Anaconda Vice. Mox fought out of it and started stomping on Punk's face. I'm sorry, not the elbows. He was doing the Blackpool Combat Club stomps, then locked in the Anaconda Vice. Then Mox turned it around and started doing the stomps to Punk. Punk, now hold on. Punk landed a scoop slam.
Oh,
I think that's our beginning for the September
6?
counter.
That's
6 on
6
the
for the
year,
year? Yeah,
1
6
for
for
the
the year.
September counter. I like to see that. That's why I'm riding with Punk. No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
But anyways, he went to the top for the Macho Man-esque elbow drop, but Mox baited him in, locked in a rear naked choke. Mox was then in control. He got up, flipped the crowd off, trying to play more into the heel since he's from Cincinnati. They're in Chicago. Punk then jumped up, landed a huge roundhouse kick, the same one that he ended up dying off of 2 weeks ago. But Mox rebounded with a huge clothesline as both men went down to, I believe, the count of like 6. So then they go back and forth, some strikes. Punk's strikes were a little sloppy, in my opinion, but he's usually not bad about them. But this time they weren't connecting, and you could tell. Maybe it was the blood, I don't know. But Mox then took control, landed the Death Rider, only got a 2 count, which I got a little concerned here, being a CM Punk fan, that was fixing to be it. And then Mox tried to lock in that Bulldog choke as they fell to the ground, but Punk rolled over him, picked him up into a GTS, to which Mox got hit with it, rebounded off the ropes, and fell on top of Punk, who was on his knees. He then gathers all of his strength, picks Mox up, lands the GTS, 1, 2, 3, new AEW champion. Now, before we get into the aftermath, what did you think about the match as a whole?
Well, it was fine. Man, at this point, it was like I caught the pay per view at like 3 hours after it aired, so I was just tired. I was hearing things that happened in the scrum, and so I was kind of reading comments while I was watching this match. So I mean, I really can't add anything to this match. I'm sure it was an okay match, but the story was after the match and after the event.
That's fair. It wasn't my match of the night. I would give that to Keith Lee and Swerve. But
Crowd was hot. I could tell that just
yeah,
by listening.
I would say this was my second favorite or my second match of the night or whatever. It was really solid. I mean, it wasn't a barn burner. Punk's had better matches in AEW to me, and Mox has had better matches. But I mean, it served its purpose. I believe JR kind of said in an article somewhere that it was a little
Oh man,
comical that
yeah.
Punk was expected to come back in 2 weeks and just win. Or that was before the pay per view, so he was like, make it make sense. Why is he going to be healthy in 2 weeks?
Why did he say that?
Jr. don't
JR
care.
don't care.
So I
JR do
mean,
not care, man.
it is what it is. He ain't wrong. That's the thing. A lot of
No,
times he's
he
not
ain't.
wrong.
But he's taking paychecks from Tony Khan. He's just
Well,
bashing his booking right there.
maybe JR needs to be on the committee that we keep, you know.
Well, Tony Khan maybe
calling
should
for.
fire JR. Maybe Tony Khan should fire JR. How about that?
His mind is good. His announcing ability, uh,
Fire Phil Brooks too. Take them
I'll
both.
get. Hold on. We're getting there. We're getting there. Anyways, as Punk is celebrating his win, the lights cut out, and we hear a recording of Tony Khan. And he's like, you've been on an extended absence. You don't want to pick up my phone calls. You don't want to show up. I'll give you a chance at the world title in the casino ladder match, and I'll give you a pay raise if you'll just show up at All Out, and make it up to these fans because they're the ones who truly deserve it. And then the audio cuts. We see a video of CM Punk from Ring of Honor where, he's saying the greatest trick the devil ever did was convince everyone that he didn't exist. We cut to a black screen, and then the man in the mask who won the casino ladder match earlier comes out. And at this point, it's pretty much confirmed that it's MJF. He then pulls the mask off. You see the back of his head. He throws the scarf over. MJF has returned to AEW, and he says, "And I am the devil himself." And then he walks out, and he stares Punk down, and the crowd went ballistic, and he started staring bullets through Punk, and he flipped off the crowd and said, "I'm coming for that belt," and we closed. We talked about it, because me and you have been arguing for 3 days consistently about what we're fixing to get into. But anyways, um, I thought it was a great finish to the pay-per-view because the pop was solid, the return was great. People really didn't know if it was ever going to happen, and now that it has, maybe it was a work, maybe it was a shoot, maybe it's a work shoot. Who knows? Only Hulk Hogan. But at the end of the day, I thought it was a solid ending to an okay pay per view, and that's what when I opened the show, I said we had a good pay per view with a bad ending, and a meh pay per view, maybe even a bad pay per view with a great ending, and I just feel like that's really what encapsulates these shows. But I'm happy to see
Yeah,
MJF back.
yeah, it's good to see him back, but the buzz for MJF quickly died down 45 minutes later.
I don't feel bad for him. He did that to Wardlow.
He did sabotage poor Wardlow.
So that I don't feel bad for him. I like Max, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel bad.
Yeah, you right about that.
But before we get to the media scrum, what would you give Clash at the Castle a grade? And we'll compare that to our all out grades. Overall, what you thinking?
Well, I remember didn't I give Clash like an A minus? I think I gave Clash an A minus or
I
A.
believe
I think I
so.
gave it an A or A minus. But this show, the fact that it went 5 hours, Micah.
Only four. Four without the pre-show.
Okay, well, still 4 hours is a long time. It's a long time. I can't sit through a whole NFL game for 4 hours, let alone professional wrestling that has no storylines or build to half the matches on the card. It was so long. Most of it was filler. Crowd was dead most of the night. All the heels went over. I'm giving it a C minus, man. I mean, I enjoyed the acclaim stuff. MJF returning was cool. Uh, other than that, not a lot of positives in the show.
I will say your grade I feel like is a little tarnished from the fact that you watched it so late.
Yeah, I was fighting back sleep throughout half of it.
But at the same time, I'm not gonna lie and say it was a great card. The length was a little better to me this time. Um,
4 hours?
I mean, the WWE one was 3.5.
Yeah, but it was over at like It was over like 3 hours and 15, and in the last 15 minutes they were sung songs.
I I don't know, man. You know the length of the AEW pay-per-views doesn't bother me. Y'all have a 2-night, 6-hour pay-per-view. I get it's WrestleMania, but it still exists.
WrestleMania wasn't no 6 hours this year. Stop it.
It it was pretty long.
Man, it didn't even go. It didn't even go 4 hours. It went 3.5 on both nights.
No, no way. I don't believe that.
I watched it. I know. It wasn't the premium live events haven't been as long as your guys' pay-per-views that y'all put out every 3 months or so.
Well,
They're
again,
just unnecessarily bloated for no reason. Not everybody has to be on this card. No reason to put what do they have? Just a lot of fillers. Darby and Sting against Miro. Well, Miro was on their team, but you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of filler in this pay per view, man. A lot of matches that didn't deserve to be on the show. A lot of guys that didn't deserve to be on the show. A lot of rushed feuds on this show. A lot of angles that didn't need to be on this show.
don't get hot about it.
I'm hot about it, and I'll get a little hot a little later when we're talking about Mr. Phil Brooks. But the
Look,
point is, this pay per view was bloated for no reason.
it is it is long. I will say that me personally, if they gave 10 solid feuds with solid matches that I wanted to see, even 8 or 9, and put 2 on the pre-show, that I think is the ideal show. Because some of the stuff just could have been cut. Now, you also run into the problem where now they have how many championships? 1, 2,
Wow.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere in there. And you add in the Ring of Honor ones too, which maybe not be on the pay-per-view, who knows? But on this pay-per-view you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defended on the actual show, and then the All Atlantic was defended on the pre-show. So if you have that many championships, you can only get 2 or 3 matches on the card if you have an 8-card show that aren't for the titles. So I don't know, man. If they built it right, I think these could be done well. But like you said, when they throw in Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal and the Motor City Machine Guns, there's just no build. And you can have great matches all day long. The build is what makes the feud. Was Punk and MJF the match of the year? No. Was it the story of the year? Yes. So, I
Whoa,
don't know,
whoa, whoa,
man.
whoa. Not after the media scrum.
Oh, man. But all in all, for me, I'm going to give AEW All Out a B.
Oh my god. Come on. A B?
Now, before the show, or before the ending, I'm sorry, I was teetering B minus C plus, but the ending left a positive note. Punk won the match. MJF came out, set up a good feud. Good to see MJF back. So it helped my like final thoughts because I think that's a lot of what makes up a pay-per-view. We'll agree to disagree.
Are
I know
there
you
any
like
matches?
WWE a little more.
Yeah, of course, of course. But are there any matches that you would ever go back and watch again?
Swerve and Keith Lee versus the Acclaimed, because I think that's one of the best crowd interactions an AEW match has had. It was a good tag match.
Yeah, it's fine. It's alright. It's good.
I mean, the only
This
thing
match
I
is
would
nice.
go, well, yeah, the only thing I would go back and watch on the Clash of the Castle card is Gunther versus Sheamus.
You didn't like the
Maybe,
Roman? You didn't like the
I was
Roman
about to
Drew
say,
match?
it was good, but would I go back and watch it? Maybe, but especially with the ending, I don't know.
Well, I thought that was top three of the weekend.
It was. I would say number one, Gunther versus Sheamus. Number two, I don't know, because both of the both of the victors for these were kind of dumb. I would say 2A, 2B, Roman, Drew, Swerve, and Our Glory, the Acclaimed. Because both matches were solid, but the ending was,
I thought the ending was really good to Roman and Drew,
of course you
but
did.
well, we don't have to rehash that. Um, I don't know, man. A B to this show. Mm, I respect the opinion, but
Well, at least I'm not some of these people on Twitter, because I see many of people saying 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
what?
No.
That has to be
No.
trolls. That has to be trolls. There ain't no way.
Hey man, some people love everything they put out, and that's great for them. I'm glad they're happy. Me personally, just not all of it was for me.
Did they
But
start watching wrestling this year, or?
hey man, uh, leave them kids alone. They still enjoy the product without scrutinizing it too much.
They'll learn.
Anyways, um, we'll move on to. We'll try. Okay, let me go ahead
Oh
and set
man,
some ground rules for me and you.
this is an impromptu scoops of the week right here, isn't
It is. Okay, I'm gonna recap this, and I personally do not cuss, ladies and gentlemen, nor do I
it?
promote this on the
We're
channel.
gonna keep
So
it PG.
yeah, I'll keep it PG. But it was not very PG when it was said, so I'll filter. However, after the show, they did a media scrum that Punk kind of cut a scathing promo on everybody. Colt Cabana, the Bucks, Hangman, just about anybody he could. And if you haven't watched it, go watch it. I'm gonna do a recap, but I cannot do it justice. This is one of these things, like literally, if you've never listened to anything I've ever said before about going back and watching something, go back and watch this. It's like 25 minutes. But I'll give a recap, and then I will give my rundown thoughts. I will let you get your rundown thoughts. We'll go back and forth for a little bit, but it is 1:30 a.m. where we are recording right now, and this could easily go until 4 at the rate that we've been going over the past few days in terms of arguing over this. So to cut it short, I'm gonna put some ground rules in beforehand. But to open up the media scrum, Punk and Tony Khan were at the table, and Punk's got some sodas, got some muffins. He's grubbing. He's
he's
still
got
got some blood.
he's got some audio issues too. Everybody's sounding like the Big Show.
Oh man, it was a little wonky, but
Yeah,
Nick Hausman from I believe Wrestling Inc.
yeah.
was
Wrestling.
beginning to ask him a question. Did not get to the question.
No.
And Punk was like, "Don't you know Colt Cabana? Or didn't you do improv with Colt Cabana?" And he was like, yeah, at one point. Are you still friends with him? No. Oh, well, that makes two of us. And then Punk goes in about Colt. And to recap it, if you don't know the Colt Cabana CM Punk thing, you'll have to go search that one out on your own. It's a long mess that even I don't truly know the full extent of. But Punk has been in AEW since late 2021. Colt Cabana has been around since the beginning. Colt Cabana is friends with the Bucks and their camp. Now, Punk and him used to be friends, had a falling out, and recently news has came out that Punk had. I say news. It's rumors because it's unconfirmed. There was rumors that Punk had to do with Colt Cabana getting removed from AEW and moved to Ring of Honor. Tony Khan and CM Punk deny this, and I'll take their word for that. But that's where we're at. So Punk said, my problem was that I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. You can call it jealousy, you can call it envy, whatever the explicitive it is. My relationship with Scott Colton, which is Colt Cabana's real name, ended long before I paid all of his bills. I have every receipt, I have every invoice, I have every email. I have the email where he says, I quote, I agree to go our separate ways. I will get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore. That is an email I have. The only reason the public did not see it is because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact.
It's a low blow too. I had to bring the man's mom into this.
I did get cracked up because he then followed with, and then after we subpoenaed Marsha, um, that was really the extent of the Colt beef. He cut into him a little more, saying, stuff about the lawsuit and bringing the stuff up. He said things along the lines of, I've had to sit here and be asked about it for the past 8 years. I've never commented. I'm going to comment now because everybody wants to leak things out to people who think they know something because they're sticking up for their friend. Punk then transitioned, going to Adam Page, referencing the rumors that came out a little bit ago. Punk was unhappy with AEW, which he shot down, but apparently he and Adam Page have real life beef because back in May when they were feuding, Adam Page said something to Punk that he was defending AEW from him, which apparently has to do with the Colt Cabana situation. And I'm sorry if I'm running through this kind of quick. There's a lot to recap here, and I want to.
Yeah, but why was that the thing that sent Punk over the edge? Like Eddie Kingston literally called him out. Like he said way more harsh things to him in a promo, and he had no problem with that.
I feel like maybe that was ran by him beforehand. I don't know. Maybe him and Eddie are cooler than that backstage, but maybe this was something that Page went off script and felt like saying because he doesn't like Punk. I don't know. But I do want to give credit where credit is due. I'm getting a lot of this paraphrasing from The Ringer. Well, there are specific quotes I'm quoting from, but I'm paraphrasing some of this stuff. But all of this is coming from The Ringer and their article about all of this drama. So please go check them out because they did all of this. I'm just reading it to you guys. Um, he then went after Adam Page. What did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty headed explicitive, dumb explicitive, like Hangman Adam Page to go out on national television and explicitive go into business for himself? Punk asked, for what? What did I ever do? I didn't do a explicitive thing. I believe Page's words were, you talk a big game about workers' rights, but you've shown the exact opposite when you came here. And that's the line that kind of
But
sent him
that didn't.
over.
That really. I mean, did you know what he was talking about when he said that line, Micah? Because I really did. It didn't register on me until everybody else started talking about it. Like
No,
that was
I
a
don't
reference
think.
to Colt. I didn't even think. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. What are you talking about there?
Well, it didn't
I
even make sense when you
no.
listen to it. You were like, huh?
What are you talking about? You talking about like um a union or something? I just I don't know, man. It didn't seem like it needed to be stewed on for 4 months and get a receipt for on national TV. 4 months later, did it really seem like it was that out of pocket?
I will hold my thoughts until the end
Oh,
because
okay,
I really got to run down the whole thing in my entire thoughts. But
okay.
I do see your point. There's people, or he continued by saying, there's people who call themselves EV. I can't talk. It's late, ladies and gentlemen. There's people who call themselves EVPs that should have blank known better. This explicitive was none of their business. I understand you sticking up for your friends. I explicitive get it. I stuck up for that guy, talking about Cole Cabana, more than anybody. I paid his bills until I didn't, and it was my decision not to. When somebody who hasn't done anything in this business jeopardizes the first $1 million house that this company has ever drawn off of my back and goes on national television and does that, it's a disgrace to this industry. It's a disgrace to this company. Now we're far beyond apologies. I gave him an explicitive chance. It did not get handled. And you saw what I had to do, which is very regrettable, lowering myself to his level. But that's where we're at right now. Now, obviously, he was referencing when he came out a few weeks ago, laid the belt down, said, Adam Page, if you want to say so much, why don't you come out here? He didn't come out because obviously he wasn't scheduled to be on the show. Then says, that's not cowboy crap, that's coward crap, and kept moving, and everybody was kind of like, huh? But in Punk's mind and everybody else's in the backstage, that was the receipt for what Page said. He then moved on to Kenny and the Bucks. He said, now it's 2022, and I haven't been friends with this guy since at least 2014, late 2013, talking about Colt. And the fact that I have to sit up here because we have irresponsible people who call themselves EVPs, yet they couldn't they couldn't manage a target, and they spread lies and BS and put into the media that I got somebody fired when I have blank all to do with him. I want nothing to do with him. I do not care where he works, where he doesn't work, where he eats, where he sleeps. The fact that I have to get up here and do this in 2022 is embarrassing.
Whoa, pause. So he wasn't friends with Colt when he did his podcast in December of 2014? He wasn't friends with him then?
Well, I think he was paraphrasing because, I mean, I don't know. I don't know when me and you became friends, to be honest with you. I could tell you the year, but I couldn't tell you the specific date or, month. So I think he was just paraphrasing. I don't think it was that big of a deal.
All right, okay. We'll let that one slide. I, did you see how he just like cut Tony Khan off and said that he's trying to run a business? Like he's in charge of the whole thing?
I did see that because Tony was saying that he should have just negated the question altogether,
Yeah.
which there was no question to negate because, like we said, Nick didn't get his question out. And then he
Man,
shoved Tony off, like you said.
Tony just sat there. He's the owner of the company. And he just let CM Punk just bury his EVPs and bury one of his employees. Like, how unprofessional is that? That's the most disrespectful thing an employer can do to an employee can do to an employer. Like, Tony Khan just let that happen. Does he have any balls, Micah?
I mean, I think.
Are we sure?
Okay.
I mean, that's how you divide a locker room right there.
Yeah, and let me go ahead and get the aftermath, and then, like I said, I'll run down my thoughts. After the fact, Punk left. Well, he talked for a little bit longer, and then he left. Now, this is where it gets hazy because there's a few different stories, but the main story coming out, Punk was in his locker room. And I do want to say this, Punk did state also that if anybody has a problem with me, come and find me.
They did.
They did come
They
and find
found.
him. Now, apparently, the EVPs broke down his door, kicked it down because he wasn't opening it.
They went through a secret tunnel.
And then a brawl apparently ensued after they were arguing, came out of the room, then started brawling. Apparently Punk punched Matt, and the word is that he threw the first punch. Ace Steel apparently hit Nick with a chair, threw a chair at him, bit Kenny Omega, and pulled Kenny's hair. So now not only Are you talking bad about the EVPs of the company? You have now gotten in a fight with them. Now, I'll give my piece, my rant, and then I'll let you go, and then we'll discuss. In my personal opinion, is he completely right? No. Is he completely wrong? No. Do I feel like he is more right than wrong? Yes. Now, to start the Cabana stuff off, without being asked a question, obviously it was on his mind. I feel that reason was because for the past few weeks, all we've heard is CM Punk's unhappy, CM Punk doesn't want to be there, CM Punk got Colt fired, all this bad stuff. He comes out and says otherwise, and people still are holding it against him, saying that he's bad news, this, that, and the other. Now, the stuff with Paige, I understand why that would be aggravating. Yes, it's been a while, but also it was kind of weird to do that in front of everybody. Why would you not address that in the back? Then we move to Kenny and the Bucks. Is he wrong? What has Kenny done? First, I don't even know what the Bucks really do as EVPs, but secondly, Kenny has made a video game that's gotten very mixed reviews from a lot of different people. The women's division is rough and has been rough. So what is Kenny doing? And I know that Sean Ross Sapp came out and Meltzer came out and said, "Well, no, we don't hear anything from the Bucks." Of course you would say that. You're not gonna tell people your sources. I'm not saying it has to be the Bucks. Brandon Cutler can't say something. Michael Nakazawa can't say something. They're people in their camp, I feel like, tell news to other people. And so I feel like Punk didn't make some baseless claim just saying that. Now, does he have any evidence to back it up at the moment? No. But in my personal opinion, I feel like he's got a reason for doing this. Now, the fighting, I can't really excuse that, but I do want to put this out there. Ace Steel probably should be fired.
Gotta go.
Punk,
No reason to keep him around.
Punk, the Bucks, and Omega do not need to be fired at all costs. They need to sit down and talk it out. They need fines. I don't know about suspension because they're all
No.
champions, so it's a weird. Hold on, let me finish. I don't know about fining or suspending because of the titles are in play here, but fining, yes. Sit down, have a civil discussion, move on, turn it into a work if we want to. If we don't want to work with each other, let's not talk about it anymore. We'll move on. But at the end of the day, I will close with this. It is funny that Punk defends himself after hearing all this crap for 8 years about Colt Cabana, and he's never said a word, and he comes out and says some stuff after he's obviously already hot about some other stuff, and now everybody hates him for it. And he said in the thing, I'm going to defend myself, and people are going to be pissed off, but yet they ask me about it all the time, and I never say anything, and then they get mad at me if I don't say anything. And to close, it's funny how we hear that Punk threw the first punch, and Ace Steel did this, and Punk did this, but nothing negative has came out about the Bucks. Not what ensued Punk to throw the first punch, not what the argument was about, not what anybody else heard or what they did in the fight. It's all on Punk. I just feel like there's a narrative being made by that camp.
Well, nobody ever says anything positive about Punk, though, Micah. So, are we really that surprised that there are no pro Punk stories out there getting leaked to the dirt sheets? He's not a good locker room guy. He never has. He's never been a good locker room leader. And it's funny that Punk is defending himself. What happened to defending your coworkers? Remember that tweet he put out when Sasha and Naomi walked out? What? Hold up, because I got the tweet pulled up. CM Punk, what was it, May 21st, 2022. Doesn't matter if your opinion of your coworker is positive or negative. Stand with them because they'll do the same thing to you and you'll wish someone helped. Trust me, you're expendable. Together, you're unstoppable. May 21st. And now what? What happened to that? Are we not standing with our coworkers now?
I've
CM Punk,
I'll let
he's
you
just,
finish.
well, I don't, man, somebody has to go. I think it should be CM Punk. What he did was unprofessional. You did it right there beside your boss. You bury your coworkers. He CM Punk is not. He's not giving you 2 million ratings every week, Micah. He's expendable. You don't need Punk. Omega and the Bucks built this. They did it without Punk, and this company will still be. They'll still be doing the same 900,000 without Punk. You don't need 43-year-old fragile ego, fragile body, fragile mind CM Punk in 2022. He's only been causing ripples in the locker room. People want him gone. Why do you keep him around? Tony Khan has to do the right thing, but he's not because he's gutless. He's gutless and he's a Mark Booker. Go ahead.
I will say this. I have the quarter hours on my phone.
Oh God. Oh God, the quarter hours. What about the quarter hours when they didn't have Punk?
Well,
It was the same 900,000 people, Micah.
no, they
They were
couldn't.
actually doing a million. They were doing a million.
They couldn't do 900,000 over the summer with no Punk. They couldn't do 900,000. They were
We're
doing
talking about before they signed Punk.
okay, but now what?
Before,
What now?
so you're saying a million people compared to 900,000 people is that much of a bump in ratings that it's worth dividing your locker room?
Anyways, I'll start with the quarter hours. So for the Punk Moxley match, it was 1.19, so almost a 1.2, and the main event of the night was the Death Triangle versus the United Empire. That did 993,000. The Bucks and Omega not on the show. So now we'll move to the next week when Moxley came out to address the crowd after he won. 1.18, almost a 1.2. When Punk was on the show, 1.07, which was halfway through the show at 9 o'clock. By the end of the night, with the Elite and the United Empire on there, 929,000. End of the night, not 896. Yet the week before that, we had 993 for a match that didn't involve them at all, and involved the Death Triangle, who have meant way less than the Elite, and the United Empire, who was on both of these matches. So you're telling me their match with the Death Triangle was better than their one with the Elite, even though we've had this Will Ospreay Omega match? That right there tells me that the Bucks and Omega are not a draw. They're
Punk ain't either. Punk ain't no draw either. You
his
act
stuff
like
consistently does over a million, close to 1.2. It's these segments that drag down the overall rating.
Punk is no Steve Austin. He's not going to get you 5 million viewers, Micah. Who cares
He's the
about
number
5 million?
one minute by minute draw.
Okay, MJF can't step into that spot. They don't need CM Punk. They didn't need him before. They don't need him now. He's 43 years old. This ain't 2011 CM Punk, Micah. This is toxic, jaded, out for himself Phil Brooks. He's not CM Punk. And there's never been a person to come to his defense like people are coming to Colt's defense. Now, do you see that online? Do you see any wrestler coming to CM Punk's defense? No, you don't. Because there's a reason for that. Punk's a prick. Always has been. He's been a prick to the fans. He doesn't care about wrestling. He cares about himself. He doesn't care about putting over younger talent. He cares about himself. And if you don't bow down and put this guy on a pedestal, he's going to treat you like dirt. And he's going to shoot on you in a live media scrum, apparently.
Okay, while they may have not won the matches, Adam Page's biggest main attraction feud was with Punk.
Look how he treated him
Wardlow's
afterwards.
okay, that was Page's fault. That's the thing too. Page is the one that instigated all of this because he's the one that shot on Punk to start all this off.
Well, how about being a bigger
But that
person? You're the champ.
Page was the champ. Why couldn't he be the bigger person and stay on the script that they talked about in the back? Why couldn't he do that? He was the world champion. He's the friends with the EVPs. He's the foundation of the company.
CM Punk,
Why can he not do that?
CM Punk should know better. He's been the biggest corporation, the biggest wrestling corporation in the world. He was the champ for. He should know how to act professional. He would have never done this under Vince McMahon, and you can't convince me otherwise.
He walked out on WWE and then told them basically to screw themselves and dogged their doctors and dogged Vince and he dogged Hunter to his face. He told Hunter in a meeting with Vince, they talked about a drug test, and he said, "You need to be wrestling me, not me wrestling you." And they talked about a drug test, and he said, "Oh, yeah, they did pass that. But did you, Hunter?" And he had nothing to say.
That's a whole different argument. The point is, CM Punk was unprofessional. How was that not unprofessional? You're the champ. And his whole gripe about Adam Page not taking advice from the veterans, what about him? What about him not taking advice from veterans? Do you remember that story about him being world champion back in 09? Undertaker telling him something and he getting all PO'd about it, and then they took the title off Punk because of how he reacted?
I don't remember
Oh,
that story.
okay. So it was the European tour. CM Punk was the world champion. Undertaker noticed how CM Punk was dressing, and he told CM Punk, "Hey, man, put on a suit. You're the world champion. Look a little more presentable." CM Punk looked at Mark Calloway and told him, "What about John Cena? Look at how he's dressed. You prick! You're not no John Cena. Who are you? You're nobody. Yeah, why didn't you take Undertaker's advice?" CM Punk's a hypocrite. Always has been.
Okay, let me say this because I'm looking into what you're saying because I've never heard of it. Uh, Jim Ross confirms that there was no beef between Undertaker and CM Punk. He said, and I quote on his Grilling JR podcast, "After working with The Undertaker, I don't remember Taker having one issue working with Punk. Ray had no issues with him either. He was not an A-kisser, and because that was so contrary to the normal behavior of a top guy in any wrestling territory that I've ever been in, he was just a different breed of cat, and folks did not know how to deal with him, simple as that. He didn't have the support of the front office that he should have had, and that's really sad."
No, 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 no. In the dirt sheets, it came out. The story was that Undertaker nicely told Punk, the world champion, has to be represented by WWE overseas. He should dress better. Punk said something to the effect of, "What about John Cena?" That was in the
Yeah, I
dirt
mean,
sheets all back then.
yeah, I'm reading it right now because Bruce said that on Something to Wrestle With, that Undertaker was
Great
not a big Punk
podcast.
fan.
Great podcast.
Apparently, the Phenom had confronted Punk about his casual dressing sense.
Yeah.
Punk allegedly retorted back that John Cena was known for wearing jean jorts.
Okay. Well, then
But
he didn't take advice from Undertaker.
JR said that that's not true.
I'm not buying that. I'm not buying it. Just going by CM Punk's reputation, I buy that story. Nobody says anything positive about Punk, Micah. Nobody. And when
Regardless,
JR says he's a different type of cat, that's just code word for saying that he was an a-hole in the locker room.
look, I just feel like there's a whole lot of hate coming out towards Punk. Why nobody's throwing any stones at the Bucks? Like nobody's
Because they
even
built
giving
this revolution. They built it.
What does it matter? It doesn't matter if they built the revolution. If you're a bunch of like buffoons backstage, what does it matter?
Well, CM Punk's a hypocrite. He claimed he wanted change in 2011, and didn't do anything. He sat home for 7 years and then came to Kenny and the Bucks to leech off their success. What about that?
He's made them more money than they made before. $1 million gates.
They were in a pandemic for a year. How are they going to get $1 million gate?
More pay-per-view buys. Okay. And I would say that you would think that the buys would be better during the pandemic because more people were home.
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. TV was down as a whole during the pandemic.
Yes, but I look, man, why is I understand Punk is the one that brought all these issues to fruition. Why is he the bad guy? Why is nobody talking about Adam Page bringing this up in the first place? He's the one that he's the one that casted the first rock. Punk literally said in the interview, I've never said anything about Colt for 8 years, and you've all said crap about me for that, and I'm going to say this, and you're going to hate me for it. And that is exactly what's happened. Nobody is saying anything bad about the Bucks and Omega. Nothing's coming out to help Punk's side.
But
Because everybody's scared to talk against the Bucks and Omega because they're their bosses. Punk knows he has the star power to say something, and he did. And regardless of whether they think he's wrong or right, people at least heard the message.
yeah, but this wasn't the right venue to air them grievances because it took steam away from MJF's return. Nobody was even talking about that.
I'll tell you what it did take away from WWE. And the fact that while it's not good publicity, it is still publicity. And
Publicity that will never get aired on TV. Like, it's not building up an angle, Micah. This is no angle. This is all backstage stuff. How is this going to draw your ratings? There's no money
I
to be
wouldn't doubt
had
it.
here.
I wouldn't doubt it if they do a little bit of a bigger rating just because of all the stuff that's coming out. And when, in all honesty, we both admitted that Clash of the Castle was a better pay-per-view than All Out, all of the attention is on AEW right now and what they're going to do. And, I mean, you know what they say? All publicity is good publicity.
It was unprovoked what Punk did at the beginning of that scrum. He just picked out poor old Nick Hausman because he recognized him from the Chicago scene and just brought up Scott Colton for no reason. There was no reason to do that. Nobody asked him about Colt Cabana. Not one person. He felt the need to go on a rant about Colt Cabana. Colt Cabana ain't said one word about CM Punk.
But all of his buddies have.
Okay, well, has Colt said anything? It should tell you about Colt's character that everybody's coming to his aid, and nobody, not one soul on this planet that is involved in wrestling is coming to CM Punk's aid, except for Jim Cornette. Everybody else, radio silence. Why is nobody coming to CM Punk's aid, Micah?
Because half of the guys that work there, they can't say anything about their bosses because they're worried about getting fired, even if they are on Punk's side,
Why
like
can't
FTR.
they leak it to the dirt sheets? Why can't they do that? Nobody, everybody that talks to Sean Ross Sapp or Meltzer, nobody is saying, hey, well, I mean, Punk is got a point there. Nobody's saying that. You telling me nobody can call up Sean Ross Sapp and be off the record and say they're on Punk's side? No, because they're not on his side. They know what type of guy he is. He's a hypocrite. He's only out for himself. He's building up younger talent. No, he's not. He wants himself to be the number one guy in the company. He's 1997 Shawn Michaels, who thinks he's 1997 Bret Hart.
Okay, the younger talent argument, how? Because Adam Page, well, first off, not even the fact
He
that...
buried Adam Page. He buried him.
Come on now. No, you know who buried Adam Page? Tony Khan. Because when Punk came back and mentioned Adam Page, it was the first time he had even been mentioned in the main event scene since Double or Nothing. Sure, Punk went over, but it was Page's first marquee match that genuinely mattered, that wasn't on TV, that was a pay-per-view main event that people cared about. His match with MJF. MJF's biggest match, most acclaim. I mean, it just had buzz
He beat all
around
those
it.
guys.
Okay, just because he beat them does not mean that he just buried them. The same thing with Wardlow. Yes, he beat Wardlow. It built Wardlow up a little bit. The fact being
Nobody
associated with those guys
capitalized.
helps.
No, because nobody capitalized on any of that. Nobody came
That's
out of that a
Tony.
bigger star.
That's Tony. MJF did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I think he did.
How?
What was MJF doing before the
He
CM
was
Punk thing?
feuding with Jericho.
I think he was doing something else before that. He wrestled Darby at Full Gear. Can you tell me anything about the MJF Darby feud?
I thought the Jericho stuff was before Punk.
It was before Punk, yes, but I believe that it was
I thought they had a
like
rep.
way before.
I thought they had a match that was the All Out match. Wasn't that the last match they had? I don't remember. Look, he didn't come out of it any higher in status than he did when going into it. He was still a feature guy on the show before that. He didn't become more over by working with Punk.
I feel like me personally, Paige went into an upper not why did I say Paige? MJF went into an upper echelon of character during the Punk feud. I feel like that's when he really got his acclaim. Yes, people knew of him. Yes, he was doing good stuff.
And he
But I feel
lost.
like MJF, okay, what does it matter? After that, MJF always loses his um pay-per-view matches. He lost to Jericho too. Jericho, what? Jericho don't bury new talent?
I didn't say he didn't, but he didn't go out there and bury a guy on live TV. Now did he?
Okay, Paige threw the first stone. Why does Punk
But
have to be the bigger person?
but nobody
Why?
knew what he was talking about when Paige brought that up. Like nobody understood what the reference was about. And if Punk had a problem with it right then and there, Micah, why didn't he address it in that promo? Why did he stew on it for 4 months?
Probably because, like he said, he didn't want to jeopardize the gate.
Oh, he didn't want to jeopardize the gate. But 4 months later, you don't care about that game, right?
That wasn't the issue.
Wouldn't it have built more interest if he did address it right then and there?
I mean, maybe, but at what point does it turn into something bad that, okay,
Nah,
I'm not working with you?
he wanted to be all tough guy when Paige wasn't around. That's what it was. He knew Paige couldn't come out and beat him up because Tony Khan was right there, gorilla. He wasn't gonna let him come out there. So he waits till
Oh, come
Paige
on.
not. I'm just saying. I mean, come on. We seen what he did in UFC. He
Oh,
waits.
well, apparently he beat up the Bucks.
Oh, he beat up
I'm
the twink.
sorry.
He beat up the twink. Okay, good for him.
I'm sorry. I'm taking CM Punk UFC training. He might be 0-2, but I will take him any day over the former journalism teacher who wears butterflies on his jeans and pretends to be a cowboy.
Oh
I'm
wow.
taking Punk.
CM Punk takes um, some MMA classes at the YMCA, and suddenly he's a UFC fighter.
He fought. He got the training. He was
He
in the
yeah,
octagon. He's got
he
more.
got beat up. He didn't fight. He didn't put up no
He got
fight.
more balls than me. I wouldn't go in there.
Did he land a single punch? I don't even remember. No, he got beat up.
I'm sure he landed a punch. I don't think.
We don't know about that. Mike Jackson humbled him, and we might have to call up Mike Jackson if Punk don't want to drop this title.
No, Mike Jackson got fired after that match, so how'd it serve him too?
Punk got fired too on his wedding day. So how's he like that? But regardless, one guy has to go. If you're Tony Khan, Micah, what decision you making?
Why does somebody have to get fired? Why can't they just be suspended or
Locker
fined?
room. It's a
Why?
locker room. It's a locker room.
What does that matter? Batista and Booker T fought. Sean and
Different.
Brett fought.
That's
They
different.
kept him. How is that any different?
It's different.
No, it's not. You're just placating.
No, it's different, man.
It's not.
They
Look,
say
I
it's
tweeted.
nuclear heat on Punk right now. There's nuclear heat.
That's crazy.
Somebody
Suspend
has to
him.
go. Somebody has to go.
No,
These
no.
these guys can't work together.
Okay, look. If Cody was here, this wouldn't happen. First off, I just want to say that.
Well, if Roman
Um,
Reigns was here, he would. He's the real locker room guy. He's what a world champion should look like. He's not going to go out there and
really.
he's not going to go out there and bury um uh who's underneath Veer. He's not going to go out there and bury Veer to the media. He's going to address it behind the scenes, like you're supposed
So
to.
you're comparing former world champion Adam Page to Veer Mahan?
Would you? You wouldn't?
Look, man. How is
I was
Roman the
comparing.
locker room
I
leader?
was comparing Veer to Cole Cabana, but
Oh.
same concept.
But no, that's a different situation because him and Punk were best friends, man. Look, Punk was defending himself. I understand that there's nuclear heat. I tweeted this
Defend
today.
himself from what? Nobody brought it up, Micah.
They did though.
Brought it up. He
Paige brought it
recognized.
up
No, he recognized Nick Houseman in the crowd, and he brought up the whole situation.
because he's been sitting on it because it's dominated the news and it's made fans turn on Punk when he was their number one babyface.
Why not be the bigger person? It's not.
Why does he have to be the bigger person?
Yeah, you're the number one guy in the company. Act like it.
So was Paige. He threw the first stone. That same argument can be applied to Adam Page.
Punk's been around for 20 plus years. Shouldn't he know better?
Well, maybe Adam Page should listen to his elders.
Well, if CM Punk don't listen to Undertaker, why should Adam Page listen to Sting?
Because Adam Page is a blethering idiot who will never make any money in his life.
Neither is CM Punk. Neither has
Yes.
CM Punk.
Okay.
Neither has
Outsold John Cena and merch.
Oh, for 2 months. Yeah. Okay. Let's see how that worked out for him. Man, he's not the draw.
Biggest.
Oh, okay, he's a bigger star than John Cena.
I'm not saying he's a bigger star than John Cena, but he's the biggest seller on Pro
Okay.
Wrestling
Well,
Tees.
the New Day outsold John Cena too in 2015. Are they bigger stars than John Cena?
I'm not saying he's a bigger star than John Cena, but he makes money.
He's not worth the headache, Micah. He's not drawing 6 million people to watch this program on Wednesday nights. He's maybe adding 100,000 fans to the product. He is the biggest financial flop the industry has ever seen. Eric Bischoff was right. He's not worth millions of dollars. He's not bringing in millions of dollars for AEW. They made this company without him.
AEW turned $100 million profit this year.
Oh, that's
without Punk.
That's with Punk. Wasn't Punk gone most of the year?
No, he was gone for 2 months.
3
Punk's
months.
been here for a solid year, and look at last year, they were in the red, and you dogged them for it ever since. This year, they're 100 million positive, and all you've got to say is, oh, well, Punk don't have anything to do with it.
They didn't release the numbers. That's just what Tony Khan said, but okay. We'll just take Tony Khan's word for it.
They didn't release the numbers for them being in the red. Tony Khan told everybody that they were in the red, and they expected to be.
He's just painting the narrative how he wants it. He's probably been feeding the dirt sheet stuff.
Look, man, we've been going too long, and if we don't close it here, all in all, you can see what side we're on. We'll see how this plays out. Me personally, I think the AEW would be absolutely. They would just. It's a shot in the foot if they fire CM Punk right now.
And me personally, AEW is a sinking ship, and it wouldn't do any more harm than it's already done to just throw CM Punk overboard.
I think you secretly, deep down, as a WWE fan, know the damage.
I'm a Punk fan too.
No, but I feel like, yes, you are a Punk fan, and that's why you want him to leave AEW because you know the damage it'll cause, and then WWE can reign supreme.
Well, WWE's gonna reign supreme regardless. CM Punk ain't gonna be he ain't gonna change the business. Let's be honest. He's 43 years old.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I think that you are rooting against AEW, and you know that if they fire Punk, it'll be a big loss.
I think it would be hilarious if they did fire Punk, honestly. But I'm just, do I get a little sick pleasure? Yes. But that's maybe a receipt to all you AEW fanboys out there laughing at us when Vince had to step down. I mean, maybe I do get a little pleasure on y'all's misfortunes. But hey, what do
And
I
there
know?
it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, what do
There it
I
is, the truth.
know?
You just work here?
Firefield Brooks.
Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this will conclude the weekend review.
Oh,
Thank you for joining us. It was quite a weekend, and if I don't upload this now, I think aliens might invade, and we might get hit by an asteroid because every day something new happens. So, make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram for exclusive updates, live tweets on certain events that we're watching live, mainly pay-per-views. As well as updates when we upload. Just exclusive thoughts, anything like that will be there. Make sure to check out our YouTube channel, trying to get that started, uploading some stuff. And we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We'll be back later this week with the Raw and Dynamite review. And hopefully nothing too crazy happens then, but it is the world of pro wrestling, and nothing ceases to amaze me in 2022. But I'm Micah. Hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll let Mr. Fire Phil Brooks send us off.
peace, everyone.